side. Authorities this morning say the encounter began yesterday in the 6,000 block of Wellington Avenue when the officers pulled over a vehicle being driven by a man identified as Mariano Ocone Jr. Police chased the Ocone's vehicle. He then fled that car and saw that he was armed with a handgun. Shots were fired and Ocone later died. The brother of Mariano Ocone is demanding answers following his death.
I don't know the situation, but since they were pursuing him with his kids in the car, what kind of police is this? Endangering the kids, even if he was armed or not.
An initial examination by the Cook County Medical Examiner found the suspect suffered what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, along with one additional gunshot wound to his upper body that the medical examiner believes was likely fired by police. Body cam video backs up the police version of the altercation. The incident remains under investigation. Charges are pending following a crash involving a police vehicle on Chicago's South Side. A sedan ran into a squad car last night after swerving into oncoming traffic in the 8400 block of South Vincennes Avenue. Multiple officers were hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Two young brothers are dead following an attempted murder-suicide involving their mother. Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. Police say officers found Aaliyah Newell and her 7-month-old son Amir on the ground early yesterday outside of the Water's Edge apartments near 72nd and South Shore Drive. Officers then went to the 11th floor and discovered the mother's grandfather, Cordell Walker, with cuts on his face and body, and her 2-year-old son, John Tavius, unresponsive in a bathtub. That child had cuts and blisters from scalding hot water. Newell and Cordell remain hospitalized this morning in critical condition. 5:04 on AM 560, The Answer, and a West Suburban Aurora man is accused of seriously wounding a sleeping man after firing gunshots, celebrating the new year. Miguel Reyes is charged with felony counts of reckless discharge and reckless conduct. Police say officers responded shortly after midnight, January 1st, to the 1600 block of Fredericksburg Lane in Aurora for a call of a man shot in the stomach while asleep in his home. Investigators casing the neighborhood determined that shots were fired less than 1/2 mile away, where they found more than 30 shell casings and a weapon in a vehicle parked outside of a home on Grand Point Trail. No one hurt after shots were fired at a vehicle carrying 2 children on the Dan Ryan on Chicago's South Side. It happened yesterday near the 35th Street exit. A Northwest Indiana judge has sentenced a man to the maximum 65 years in prison for fatally stabbing a female bartender at a tavern where he worked as a bouncer. 53-year-old Christopher Dillard of Hobart learned his punishment after a Porter County jury found him guilty of murder in November in the slaying of 23-year-old Nicole Gland. A man who died last month in Chicago's Kilbourne Park is Cook County's 15th cold-related death of the season. Medical examiner says the 44-year-old died of a combined drug toxicity with cold exposure listed only as a contributing factor. Illinois leaders outside of Cook County are responding to a huge state population decline. Most are demanding a more business-friendly environment and much lower taxes after over 51,000 people fled the state between 2018 and 2019. Those same leaders now believe the increase in the minimum wage will force small businesses to close their doors, hurting the economy and the population again. State and federal funding of local projects will also be hurt by population decreases. The White Sox continue to be the hottest team in baseball this offseason. They're making big investments to stay on top, bringing top prospect Luis Robert in before he makes his Major League Baseball debut. The club and the outfielder have agreed to a 6-year, $50 million contract, assuring Robert will be the Sox opening day center fielder this year. Jazz slipped past the Bulls 102-98 at the UC. Adam Gaudette, the go-ahead goal. Late in the third period, Canucks beat the Blackhawks in Vancouver 7-5. Number 16, Michigan State A 76-56 win against Illinois in East Lansing. The Illini host Purdue on Sunday night. The NFL has lost one of its greatest innovators, Sam Wyche. Former Bengals and Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach passed away at the age of 74 yesterday. He led Cincinnati to an appearance in Super Bowl 23. The news service of Mattress Firm. It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm through Tuesday. Save up to $600 when you get a king mattress for the price of a queen or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base with your $4.99 purchase. 5:07, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager still doesn't understand the impeachment.
No member came here to impeach the president. How does she say that with a straight face? But truth is not a left-wing value. What they always say he violated the Constitution, but what did he violate in the Constitution? Has there ever been an impeachment where only one party wanted the president impeached? No. This is unprecedented.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Real travel is life-changing. With Trafalgar, you'll discover the best way to travel and connect with the culture, people, and places you visit. You'll travel with the freedom to discover and the confidence to explore. With over 300 trips on all 7 continents, you get real experiences that you won't find elsewhere. These are just a few of the greatest travel stories you'll ever tell. Save up to 7.5% on trips. Terms and conditions apply. Visit your travel agent or Trafalgar.com. Trafalgar, simply the best.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Welcome to Burger Palace. What would you like today?
Yes, I'd like to tell you that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
This is Burger Palace. Do you want any food?
Yes, one Palace party meal. No, Limu, they won't put insects on a burger. No, you can't talk to the manager.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Names matter. Your name, the name you've made for yourself, and the name of the company you represent. Because of you, they're names people can trust. That's why at 4imprint, every name and logo is printed with certainty. We pay attention to every detail because we know the way your name appears is the way it's remembered. So you'll know for certain that every item, from the right apparel to the most popular tech items, will be right the first time, on time, every time, at a great price, guaranteed. Because when you have passion, integrity, and certainty, the only name they'll remember is yours. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4, imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen, or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
It's 5:10. Check of the roads. Here's Jim Talamonte.
In Glen Ellen, we have crash reported 53 at Park Boulevard. On the expressways and tollways, traffic moves pretty well on this Friday. The Eden's clear. Same goes for the Kennedy. Express lanes are open inbound. No delays to report on the Eisenhower. Remember, at 1 a.m. Saturday, the outbound Eisenhower ramp to the outbound Kennedy is scheduled to close for construction till late 2020. The Stevenson and the Ryan look great, no problem to report on I-57 with the Bishop Ford Freeway. Some morning road work on the Tri-State wrapping up right in the area around Archer. Other tollways look good, northwest Indiana as well. CTA Red Line trains have some residual delays after police activity at 69. I'm Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy with a high at 38. Clouds and a bit of snow late tonight. Little or no accumulation, low 27. A few flurries tomorrow morning, otherwise a cloudy day, high 34. Sunny and breezy on Sunday, the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 O'Hare, 39 Lakefront, 38 Midway, 34 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Michael Medved at michaelmedved.com for Town Hall. The new year brings new questions about the Democratic Party and its impeachment obsession. After urgent demands for Trump's immediate removal, Democrats suddenly slowed down the impeachment process, delaying a Senate trial and hoping to stretch out that proceeding to the beginning of 2020's primary season. The Dems mean to focus relentlessly on Trump's alleged unfitness for office, to keep attention away from their own radical agenda. They know public opinion may be closely divided on the president himself, but big majorities oppose such Democratic priorities as outlawing private health insurance, racial reparations for slavery, tax hikes, open borders, canceled college debt, and the job-killing Green New Deal. The Democrats know that if they make the election a referendum on Trump's polarizing personality, they could possibly win. But a pitch for votes based on their stridently progressive platform would lose in a landslide. I'm Michael Medved.
Sponsored by Alliance Defending Freedom. Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And the Ayatollah tweeted out earlier in the week at President Trump. The guy has tweeted that we see Iran responsible for the events in Baghdad. We will respond to Iran. Number one, you can't do anything. Number two, if you were logical, which you're not, you'd see that your crimes in Iraq, Afghanistan have made nations hate you. Can't do anything, huh? Bombogram for General Soleimani incoming. The Quds general taken out in a strike last night by President Trump.
Yeah, and
ordered by President Trump.
Yeah, and he was at Mar-a-Lago. Kevin McCarthy was by his side. Other people were there, and the airstrike happened at the Baghdad International Airport.
Catherine Herridge, now at CBS News, tweeted out last night at about 9:40 our time. Senior U.S. government official confirms to CBS News the strike was in response to active threat to U.S. interests in the region, personally overseen by General Soleimani. Official made clear U.S. prepared to take further action if diplomats, soldiers are threatened by his replacement. And this was the point that SecDef Mike Esper made earlier in the week, before this strike, but after the strike in response to the attack by Iran on that killed a U.S. contractor and injured 4 soldiers. The missile strikes on Shiite militia targets in both Iraq and Syria that were ordered. Mike Esper explaining to Andrea Mitchell, and he talked slowly so she could understand it, just what the position of the administration is with respect to Iran.
Well, you have to look at the broader history here. So for several months now, and particularly in the last couple, we've had these Iranian-sponsored militia groups, in this case, Kataib Hezbollah, that has been attacking our personnel and our bases. And the attack that resulted in the death of an American and the wounding of 4 soldiers was actually 31 rockets fired at the base. We saw this uptick over the last 2 months, nearly a dozen attacks, increasing in both volume and the type of weapons used. And so, enough is enough. This is part of Iran's malign behavior that they've been spreading across the region from Africa all the way through the Middle East into Afghanistan now for 40 years. And it's this type of bad behavior that simply needs to end. And we resume all the we have all the capabilities inherent in the United States military to either respond to further attacks or to take preemptive action if additional attacks are being prepared.
There you go. We're to take preemptive action in the case that additional attacks are being prepared, and so they took preemptive action.
Well, many on the left, of course, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, are mad that they weren't in on this. They had no idea. They want President Trump to brief Congress today, Dan, to make sure that this was a legitimate attack. No one's saying that this was a good guy, but they're saying that this is going to lead to another Middle Eastern conflict.
It's not clear what the objective here. Soleimani is a bad guy. There's no question. But we appear to be, without, by the way, I'd say without congressional authorization, entering into another Middle East war.
And that's Fareed Zakaria from CNN.
Yeah, well, Fareed Zakaria has it wrong, which is not unusual for Fareed. This is the same guy who wrote about 10 years ago about the end of the American hegemony in the world in the 21st century. How's that turning out so far, Fareed?
Not
congressional approval was not required. The Iranians attacked U.S. troops that are legally in a combat zone, and so they are the response from the administration. They're well within their rights, sans congressional approval, to respond, including preemptively for the purpose of eliminating a threat. This is just wrong. And so is the whole gaggle of Democrat socialist presidential candidates. I mean, it's just sort of a pro forma knee-jerk response because Orange Man bad, so whatever Orange Man do, I disagree with. I mean, that's the level of analysis here. In fact, this was long overdue. Bill Roggio, a friend of the show from Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, he tweeted out about this, referencing a piece that they had written long ago in the Long War Journal. This is more than a decade too late. The Bush and Obama administrations knew that Soleimani and Mohandes were up to, but they were too fearful to strike. These two are responsible for the deaths of at least 600 U.S. soldiers and tens of thousands of Iraqi soldiers, police, and civilians. In point of fact, one estimate has Soleimani responsible for about a fifth of U.S. soldier casualties in Iraq.
And then don't forget, too, of all the Israelis that he's killed as well. And he was working on taking out other U.S. diplomats, and that's the reason why they struck when they did. But, of course, the Washington Post, their headline, Dan, well, what they tweeted out, breaking news, airstrike at Baghdad airport kills Iran's most revered military leader.
Well, this is consistent with the Washington Post's characterization of al-Baghdadi, the ISIS terrorist leader that was killed. The description of him as austere religious scholar. I mean, they delegitimize themselves every single day, and then they wonder aloud why people aren't seeing them across the spectrum as an outlet to be trusted, as the guarantor of a free society. It's ridiculous. By the way, Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, he tweeted out a video with the reaction once word got to the streets in Iraq. Iraqis, tweeting, Iraqis dancing in the street for freedom, thankful that General Soleimani is no more. And there were response to his tweets, too, suggesting that a lot of Iranians who are revolting in the streets of Tehran against the mullahs there are just as happy as well. Bad guy doesn't quite characterize it. We're talking about the lead state sponsor of terror in the world, and and the mullah's effectively top lieutenant as the head of the Quds force. Mike in Plano, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Forget about the left-wing media because you know what they were going to do. They'll oppose Trump no matter what. But what about guys like Tucker Carlson? He's been on this anti-war binge for, over a year. He constantly it causes fear of World War III with Iran. He even brings on these burdened socialists that are anti-war, and they masquerade as Trump supporters to push their narrative. And he also he doesn't even bother telling you that the guy that Trump killed last night is one of the world's worst terrorists. So he's very disingenuous. And let's not forget who Tucker Carlson is. This guy was a diehard MSNBC left-winger for, 20 years? And now he's on Fox News trying to play the libertarian card. So I have trouble trusting anybody to report on this stuff accurately, unfortunately.
All right, thanks for the call, Mike. Well,
may I suggest the Dan Proft Show?
Right, there you go.
I mean,
yes.
That's where you start.
Yeah, well,
and with us. In
here
the mornings,
and there. I mean, look, Tucker's gone through some iterations. By the way,
he used to be a shock jock.
Trump is an anti-war president.
Right, that's why some people are surprised, though, at the move that he made.
I'm anti-war. Not so much that I'm going to ignore external threats to our nation, but nobody is spoiling for war. This characterization, first of all,
Well, it's an election year, so the left is pouncing on him for that, saying he's doing this because it's 2020.
and you heard from SecDef Esper that this is months in the making. Enough is enough, as he said. And, Esper went on to talk about what we were hoping for in the region to enhance stability, not just for our sake, but also for Israel's, but also for the people in the region's sake. They, the goal here is to have a stable Iraq that is not a proxy state of Iran.
I think the party that is weakening the Iraqi government and the Iraqi country is Iran. They are exerting their influence throughout that country through these Shia militia groups, through politicians that they control in one way, shape, or form. And so that's why I see that you see over the past few months, thousands of Iraqis, normal Iraqis, are in the streets protesting both corruption and Iranian influence in their country. In fact, as I recall, they torched the consulate in one of their provinces, an Iranian consulate, because they want Iran out of their country.
And this is Iran testing the Trump administration. Are they going to be appeasers like the Iranians have gotten used to under the previous two regimes, or not? And President Trump is sending a pretty clear message that it's or not. Chuck in Delavan.
Hey, I called before. Everybody can look it up. February 9, 2012, when Obama was president, we sold them 200,000 metric tons of wheat so they didn't starve because there was a blight in the Soviet Union. That guy says we can't do nothing. I say next time we starve them. Thank you.
Well, they're vowing retaliation.
Well, of course, that's what they do, and of course will respond in kind or come over the top. To some extent, this is testing, though. This is testing. This is nothing new from this regime. Stephen Miller, not the White House Stephen Miller, but at Red Steez, the online conservative, tweeting out at Ben Rhodes, "I'm sorry for your loss." Perfect. Because the Obama-era apparatchiks were apologists and appeasers. And that's what emboldened Iran, including allowing for Iran to establish the sort of presence in Iraq that Secretary of Defense Esper was describing when Obama cut the surge short in 2011.
Well, speaking of tweets, did you see what actress Rose McGowan tweeted? "Dear Iran, the U.S. has disrespected your country, your flag, your people. 52% of us humbly apologize. We want peace with your nation. We're being held hostage by a terrorist regime. We do not know how to escape. Please do not kill us."
It's wonderful. This is also why Hollywood enjoys the great respect that it enjoys, particularly on geopolitical matters, because of intelligence comments from people who used to date Marilyn Manson. Mary Kay in Western Springs, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I just want to say good for President Trump for, taking action. Just like you were saying, Clinton, Bush, they wouldn't take action. And I feel safer. I feel like he does what he says he's going to do. And thank goodness, because when Trump was elected, former Democrat, just like Tucker, and I always felt he was like, he's more of a lover, not a fighter. Trump is, so good for him that he evolved. Good for Tucker that he's evolved. Good for a lot of people that they've evolved. That's what's supposed to happen. That's you grow up, you get some, nads, and you get out there and do what you're elected to do.
All right, thanks for the call, Mary Kay.
And don't forget what President Trump said on New Year's Eve.
Western Springs.
Yes.
I don't think that would be a good idea for Iran. It wouldn't last very long. Do I want to? No. I want to have peace. I like peace. And Iran should want peace more than anybody. So I don't see that happening.
Here we go again, too, where we're trying to get what exactly the position of the left is and the criticism of Trump. On the one hand, he's a Twitter cowboy who just saber rattles online. On the other hand, he's a warmonger. Yeah. So which is it?
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649 or go to freeirsbook.com.
It's a real-world reality. Gunshots. Sometimes the results are tragic. Now, there's gunshot detection technology and active shooter countermeasure technology available right now. And it was developed for the U.S. government.
Hey, this is Mike Walsh. My company is Walsh Wireless. We are the Chicagoland dealer for gunshot detection technology. This gunshot detection system is nothing short of amazing, and it is highly effective. Who uses it? Government, healthcare, education, houses of worship, entertainment, and a lot more. There are no false positives, and that's good. The system can identify the caliber of the gun, so law enforcement can be prepared. This gunshot detection system can also work with your current security system to do a lockdown, instant notification, and more. Identify the gunshot and cut down response time. You need this. Gunshot detection technology from Walsh Wireless. Cost-effective solution to counter a real-world reality.
Financing available. Go to walshwireless.com. A proud IBEW contractor. walshwireless.com.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up.
Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are starving. And our good friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to make sure these families survive.
And here's how your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
Dan, that's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. Through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping 8 families. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Nakowski at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. One more time, 847-472-8951.
Are you tired of paying another mortgage payment for your health insurance? Did you know you're not locked into your current health plan? With non-Obamacare health plans, you may save 25 to 50% or more each month. Contact SVL Insurance Group. They recently helped a healthy family of 5 who were paying $1,800 per month for health insurance using a well-known regional insurance carrier. SVL Insurance Group was able to lower their premium to $750 per month and pick up additional coverage. There are no open enrollment periods, which means you can start or stop your health plan any time of the year. You can also cancel anytime. 2019 has been a remarkable year with the expansion of product portfolios from many insurance carriers. With the elimination of the individual mandate, you're now free to choose any health insurance plan for you and your family without the added stress of a yearly penalty. Contact SVL Insurance Group today to have a conversation and see what's best for your family. Call 224-465-8276. That's 224-465-8276. Online at svlinsurancegroup.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Do newly unearthed emails regarding Ukrainian military aid change the impeachment case? We'll talk about it at 5:38.
And he's not Mayor Pete anymore. Buttigieg's successor is sworn in. What to call him now? Now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
37 degrees at 5:31. The president of Iran vowing retaliation for the U.S. airstrike that killed the commander of an elite military force of that country. President Hassan Rouhani called the airstrike that left Qasem Soleimani dead. The Defense Department here in the U.S. saying that airstrike near the Baghdad International Airport was meant to deter future Iranian attacks. Meantime, President Trump is sending more U.S. troops to protect U.S. embassy officials in Iraq. It comes into response to that protest at the embassy, which the White House blames on Iran. Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger this morning discusses the potential threat level of Iran in the region.
I'm not sure this is quite yet rising to the level of we're on the brink of, an impending battle with Iran, because I think both of us are kind of reacting measured on this. Iran is overreacting. We're reacting in a measured way. And keep in mind, in the rest of the region, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Syria, everywhere, people are protesting against Iranian expansion.
Protesters attacking the embassy in response to a series of strikes on militia groups backed by Iran's government last week. A new report says more police officers died by suicide last year than were killed in the line of duty. The organization Blue Help says both are tragedies, but they're tracking the police suicides. It says at least 228 officers died by suicide in 2019, the highest number the organization has ever reported. More than 200 members of Congress want the Supreme Court to reconsider or even overrule the landmark Roe v. Wade decision. Senators and representatives signed an amicus brief in support of a Louisiana abortion law being challenged before the Supreme Court. There's a problem for thousands of us trying to get those real ID driver's licenses. One, of course, that will be required to fly. Apparently, some passports used in the application process just aren't scanning. The State Department isn't sure what's causing the problem and says there's no fix at the moment. Local stories we're following this morning. A man is dead following a violent confrontation with Chicago police. It happened on the northwest side in the 6,000 block of West Wellington Avenue yesterday. Charges are pending following a crash involving a Chicago police vehicle on the south side. A sedan swerved into head-on traffic, hitting that squad car last night in the 8400 block of South Vincennes. And Illinois leaders outside of Cook County are responding to a huge state population decline. Most are demanding a more business-friendly environment and lower taxes after over 51,000 people left the state between 2018 and 2019. Jazz over the Bulls. Canucks beat the Blackhawks, and in Big Ten hoops, number 16 Michigan State topped Illinois. 5:34, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees a robust economy.
You can't contradict that these are the best numbers of our lives.
So it was Jim Cramer, and he said no matter what you think of the president, there's no denying we are living in the best labor market in more than a generation. Well, we already know that. We've never had a better employment situation in the country than we do now.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a commercial announcement. Soon the Senate will decide if President Trump should be removed from office. Now, Newsmax is conducting an urgent poll asking if President Trump should be removed. President Trump needs your vote. Just text on your cell phone the word ROCK to 95577. That's ROCK to 95577, and you can vote in Newsmax's poll. Newsmax polls have been cited by all the major media. So let your voice be heard. Take the Newsmax poll. Text the word ROCK to 95577 and vote now. Text and data rates may apply.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Jen London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. It's a free service, and we've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad. There's a place for answers, A Place for Mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-391-1755. That's 1-800-391-1755.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350-350. That's LIKE to 350-350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
537 AM 560 traffic center time, and Jim Telemonte.
Travel conditions are looking good right now on this Friday morning. There is a crash reported in Glen Ellen and Lyle, actually right near the Borton Arboretum on 53, right where it meets Park Boulevard. Careful there, but the roadway is open 53. Outbound Eisenhower, the ramp to the outbound Kennedy, scheduled to close at 1 a.m. Saturday. So it's overnight tonight. That closure is long-term to late this year as part of the Burn Circle reconstruction. Right now, the Eisenhower is fine. Kennedy, 2. No delays on the Eden, the Stevenson, the Ryan, I-57, or the Bishop Ford. Tollways look great. No problems to report on I-80 or in Northwest Indiana. Happy Friday. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy skies. A high near 38. Plenty of clouds overnight. We'll have a bit of snow. A low of 27. Currently 37 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I hate to get into the business of sawing sawdust, but you're almost compelled to respond when the Beltway big government media does so. You're taking any little new nugget of information and relitigating issues that have long been litigated.
Or blowing it out of proportion and out of the water.
Well, yeah, that's another
Their hair's on fire.
description.
Look at what we have over here. New information. Emails.
So it's two things, too. I mean, Yahoo News yesterday just posted a story about the debate over unmasking the whistleblower. Is that debate still going on?
Really?
Has anybody's position changed? And isn't it sort of moot since everybody knows who the whistleblower is? But okay.
Good luck with that exclusive.
The debate rages on inside the bubble of the Beltway. But with respect to these emails, what Chuck Schumer was running around with with what's left of his hair on fire, as you were saying, Amy, calling what I'm about to describe a, quote, devastating blow in Senator McConnell's push to have a trial without the documents and witnesses we, meaning Senate Democrats, have requested. There's some documents that were obtained by the Center for Public Integrity through a FOIA request. And among the documents they obtained and then released, there are emails between Elaine McCusker, who's the acting Pentagon comptroller, and White House officials at OMB, in which she raised concerns about the legality of the hold on the $400 million in military aid to Ukraine. Okay. Wall Street Journal reporting, though Pentagon officials' frustrations were previously known, the emails, earlier versions of which had been redacted by DOJ, offer a new level of detail about Ms. McCusker's concerns. Of course, her most dire predictions didn't come true. She warned that $120 million or more of the aid was at risk of not being spent before the end of the fiscal year. But after the White House lifted its hold on the aid on September 11th, that was moot. So all of this is basically to say, aha, Trump directed the aid to be held. Yeah. I know.
Well, we know that he did, and I'm glad that he did. I mean, they had a new president of Ukraine who was a former comedian first time holding public office, you don't just rush and throw them millions of dollars. You have to investigate first. You have to wait. You have to talk to your advisors.
In addition to that, by the way, I mean, just because this is being treated as some smoking gun, some aha moment, there was disagreement between Office of Management and Budget and McCusker. Rachel Semmel, a OMB, Office of Management and Budget spokesperson. There was agreement every step of the way between DOD and OMB lawyers, Department of Defense, Office of Management and Budget, who were responsible for working out the details of the hold in line with the president's priorities. So, yeah, she raised concerns. OMB is saying that that's different than what they were hearing from other Pentagon officials in terms of the level of concern or frustration. And ultimately, they were working out the details consistent with the president's priorities, as you just heard me read from Ms. Semmel's statement. So, I'm sorry. What is it that we have
It's
here?
called, I smell desperation.
It's just, it's funny too to watch this because both sides, the president's side, congressional Democrats, look to the transcript. The transcript is a smoking gun for Democrats. The transcript is exculpatory for President Trump. So, I mean, it's so much a Rorschach ink plot, and all the witness testimony and all the redacted documents that are surfacing as House Democrats are on the clock with the articles of impeachment, it all just gets us back to the starting point, the transcript of that phone call. I mean, and no histrionics from Chuck Schumer is going to change that unless they have something more than what they're presenting. But they're trying, I think you're right about desperation. They're trying to grab onto any little thing they can to advance the story, to pretend like there are things that we don't know that we need to know. There are documents, there are witnesses. All this needs to be fleshed out by the Senate, even though the House made the decision not to do any of it. And then again,
and you have to point that out to your friends. I mean, seriously, because
sure.
they think, the Senate, they're just trying to rush this through. It's like, no, they're doing their job because the House did not do theirs. And they don't have to do the job that the House failed to do, and that's call witnesses and subpoena witnesses. And I mean, you just don't go in front of a grand jury. You have to get subpoenaed to go before a grand jury. You don't just testify at a House, Judiciary Committee. You should be subpoenaed to do so. And they chose not to do it.
That's right. That was a decision they made.
And now they have to live with it.
And so this other matter, I mean, there's so many concurrent matters, but this other matter of the whistleblower.
Yeah.
Because
do you want to say his name? No, we already have.
If you say his, I don't know, should we attach the Frau Blucher drop to saying whistleblower or to actually saying Eric Ciaramella?
Did you say Eric Ciaramella?
May I present Frau Blucher?
Yeah, I mean, you can't say his name. This is so ridiculous. This whole, everybody knows who he is, but his name shall not be spoken.
Shh,
Eric. There's a good piece, actually, on at realclearpolitics.com. One of the reasons, and we've talked about this, so this isn't new either, but since this has been reintroduced, the debate over unmasking him because Trump retweeted somebody who had unmasked him over the holidays, and oh, good grief. Well, maybe there's, and of course some Republicans have fainted, we're going to call witnesses? Yeah, we're going to call the whistleblower, we're going to call Joe Biden, we're going to call Hunter Biden, we're going to call Adam Schiff. Well, the whistleblower and Adam Schiff, let's take those two. Of course, they're connected, ostensibly, and perhaps the whole rally around the whistleblower is because the House Democrats, and Senate Democrats for that matter, don't want the truth of the relationship between Adam Schiff and the whistleblower revealed, just how much coordination was there, just how much lying or at minimum disingenuity was there from Adam Schiff throughout this proceeding. Craig in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, you took and spelled it out there, but here's the thing. That Trump is so surrounded by, Obama leftovers, but people that hate Trump's guts and are against him and won't cooperate with him and everything. every move that Trump makes, and the moves he makes are all right. They're good moves and everything like that. But they twist them and thing. And the thing that gets me the worst is just how rotten this media is, because it's the media that is basically gives the power to these people to be able to take and make these attacks and kind of twist things all out of whack to make it look like, ooh, Trump's doing something wrong and like that. When he's going along doing his job and doing a damn good job at it and everything like that. But these people are sick. The Charamella, that woman you were talking about that was involved with the money, that is the latest. Oh, she was really concerned about this. When Obama was in there, nobody was concerned about nothing he was doing, throwing away billions of dollars to our enemies and stuff, and no matter what he did and everything.
All right, thanks for the call, Craig. Speaking of Department of Justice, though, this is worth noting. I mean, even though you have Attorney General Barr at the top of the pyramid there, a reporter for the Epoch Times looked at FEC data, the contributions that were made by Department of Justice employees.
Ooh. And drum roll.
Between 2015 and 2019.
Wait for it. What?
A total of 1,252 unique donors. That's really not that crescendo, but okay. All right.
I love it. Thank you.
1,252 unique donors made 17,000 itemized contributions during that 5-year period.
Totaling?
Hillary Clinton received 2,824 contributions from 414 DOJ employees.
Oh, my God.
That's about $500,000. Average donation, $175. 43 DOJ employees, 3% of contributing employees, donated to Trump. Their collective contributions were under $15,000 total. $500,000 to $15,000. 414 employees to 43. 10 times as many Clinton donors as Trump donors among those who listed DOJ as their employer during the 2016 campaign. Now, this is the number of employees contributing is a tiny fraction of the total number of employees at Department of Justice, but it's still instructive. I mean, it's like a college campus, basically. It's like the professorate on a college campus. Roy Blunt, Missouri senator, who's a member of McConnell's leadership team, said this week he expects the Trump impeachment trial will be over by the State of the Union speech, which is scheduled for early February. He said it would be pretty predictable, happen quickly, and to be done by the State of the Union. Let's hope Blunt is right.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Come on, Al, read our latest fan mail.
Dear Al and Marty, you are the most spectacular car dealers of all time, especially Al.
Give me that. It's signed. Al totally didn't write this.
See, it's completely unbiased.
Lease a 2019 Lincoln MKC for just $383 a month and 0 down. Visit Chicagoland's greatest dealers, only at Highland Park Lincoln Superstore.
We're Al and Marty. Deal with us.
Plus tax, license, title, and $179.81 doc fee. 7,500 miles per year, 36 months, no security deposit. Offer ends 12/2/19.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. Leslie, I like to think that we're always finishing the drive to the end zone and not just blocking and tackling for our clients. We want them to be ready for the big game, their retirement.
That's right, Craig, and our whole team at Wealth Management Group has their game face on and is ready for 2020.
Make a tactical maneuver to make Wealth Management Group part of your financial force.
Pick Wealth Management Group as your offensive line. Visit us at investwithwmg.com and listen to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA
FINRA SIPC.
Daily stress is a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stressed individuals attract diseases, just like blood in the water attracts sharks. Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the show host of Health Quest Radio, the longest-running health news and science show in Chicago. And for over 33 years, we share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to minimize the need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. Today, it's our dirt cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. You know, most people flunk on their first go-around signaling adrenal gland distress. And then following our stress-busting strategies, most individuals pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call and purchase your first dirt cheap adrenal stress index test, and we'll hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. 800-794-1855. And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11.
Hey, Pat, I need copies of your engineering blueprints for the new tenants on floor 15.
We have the specs right here. Their business operates in a sensitive environment. We're going to have HVAC issues.
This is definitely a challenge. We'd better get Hayward HVAC involved now.
HVAC needs will vary by business, and some can be extremely challenging. Hayward HVAC Company will eliminate your headaches and bring over 100 years of expert results to your building. They don't just deal with ventilation, they fabricate in-house. Hayward designs solutions. They solve problems. When Hayward HVAC Company is on the job, you can trust it'll be done right. How else do you last for over 100 years? Call Hayward HVAC Company at 847-671-0400 or visit haywardhvac.com. That's 847-671-0400. Hayward HVAC, a tradition of trust since 1915.
Christmas, a beautiful time of the year to create memories with your family and friends. So why not start a new holiday family tradition with a ride to Gobert's Pumpkin Patch in Pingree Grove? Experience the wonder of their annual Christmas light show. From the cozy comfort of your vehicle, you'll drive through a path featuring over 2 million dazzling LED lights choreographed to your favorite holiday tunes. Tickets are available at the entrance or purchase in advance at GobertsPumpkinPatch.com. Entry fee is $5 per person or a max of $20 per car. Special rates are available for oversized vehicles. Open 6 nights a week, closed on Mondays. Be sure to visit GobertsPumpkinPatch.com for hours and details. Look for the glow of the lights off I-90 and Route 47. Follow Gobert's Pumpkin Patch on Facebook for up-to-date information and events. And if Santa brings you an engagement ring, let Gobert's help arrange a magical wedding experience right on the farm. From the Gobert's family to your family, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy and Hillary's got a new job.
Yeah, I heard. Sounds.
She's
very excited. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, another deep thinker in the academy. Hillary Clinton is to be the new chancellor of Queen's University Belfast,
which is the capital of Northern Ireland, in case people don't know.
Thank you, Bono.
In the name of love.
Hillary Clinton saying it's a great privilege to become the chancellor of Queen's University Belfast.
Yeah, it's a 5-year term. Mm-hmm.
This is mainly ceremonial.
Oh, it is?
And the compensation was not disclosed.
Yeah, that's the thing. I kept looking. How much money is she going to make? I'm sure, 6 figures? At least, right?
Well, you'll recall the last time a Clinton got some academic sinecure, that was Bill for the
for what?
For that laureate not laureate universities, laureate international universities, which is an operator of for-profit colleges, which I thought were the bête noire of socialists when it comes to high education. His total compensation, according to a Politico article from 2016, Bill Clinton's total compensation from laureate education,
yeah,
$17.5 million.
What?
Yeah. They also made laureate international universities donated between $1 and $5 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Oh.
Of course they did. So
it's part of the fee.
All in advance of Bill and Hillary getting back into the White House in 2016, and maybe Bill could do something about the heat for-profit universities were taking from certain quarters.
I still can't get over the fact that when they got married, these two lovebirds who met, at a library in
Sure.
the spring of 19.
Yeah. Love at
late
first
60s,
sight.
Love at first sight. I wanted to touch her back, but I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That they took their honeymoon in Haiti.
Wanted to touch her bifocals, but I
Right.
couldn't. Yeah.
So they ventured off to Haiti. And
Yeah.
I know you haven't been to Haiti. You were supposed to go, but your trip got postponed. When you get to Haiti, what you think is honeymoon? No, so strange. And then her brother got the cell phone contract in
Well,
Haiti.
right.
And now everybody has a cell phone, even if they're living in a hut.
They were setting up themselves to be the next baby Doc Duvalier in Haiti and fleece that country, be the next
They fleeced
potentate that fleeced that country. So
and after the earthquake,
they went right down there.
They took so much of the funds. They stole from the Haitian people.
Well, stole is an ugly word.
Well, sorry, I borrowed,
There
skimmed
was-
off the top.
I don't know that they were.
They're not revered as a well-known, respected couple in Haiti. I can tell you that.
Well, I don't know, but
when I was there, nobody had anything nice to say.
probably not like who's Scal Labissiere. Scal Labissiere, excuse me.
Labissiere,
right?
oh, the
NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not like him. But
Oh, he's a good guy.
yeah.
I
So
met him when I was down there.
So it's nice to see that maybe Queen's University Belfast can make up some of the lost remuneration that the Clintons were enjoying in the run-up to being back in the White House in 2016 when that didn't work out. And then, the speechifying big six-figure honoraria to speechify before big corporations who would then also featherbed the Clinton Foundation, that seems to have diminished substantially over the last 3 years as well.
Right. Then remember lately, too, they can't sell out events, and ticket prices dropped precipitously to get people in the stands.
I'm just look. I just don't want the Clintons to go back to the late '90s where they were struggling to pay their mortgages, plural. Nobody wants them to be in that position.
No. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Joe Biden says the only place Trump would be comfortable is in a mosh pit, and nobody knows what he's talking about, including him, at 6:06.
But now let's head straight into the newsroom to get news here at home and around the world and the latest on that assassination. Here is Mike Scott.
Oil prices are jumping on fears of the Iranian retaliation against the U.S. Fox News will have the latest developments on Iran triggering global alarms because of threats of retaliation today. A man dead after a violent confrontation with Chicago police while shots were fired at a vehicle carrying children on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Illinois leaders outside of Cook County responding to dramatic state population decline numbers. Big Ten hoops, Michigan State topped Illinois. Blackhawks fall to the Canucks. Jazz slip past the Bulls. And the White Sox reach a deal with Luis Robert. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Leave immediately. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Americans in Iraq are being told by the State Department.
They are saying they are at threat for kidnapping or even being killed. This coming after that strike last night outside of Baghdad's international airport killed this leader of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Additionally, 7 other people were killed, including a deputy and a very large Iranian-backed Shia militia.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst. Iran's supreme leader is threatening a harsh retaliation and calling for a 3-day mourning period. As Iran state TV shows people in the streets singing and chanting. But to the U.S., the general killed was a bad guy, a murderer. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, calling the airstrike a decisive defensive action. The Pentagon claims Qasem Soleimani was actively planning to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. In a statement, the Defense Department also says General Soleimani and his Quds Force were responsible for the deaths of hundreds of U.S. and coalition service members and orchestrated recent attacks on bases in Iraq, one of which killed an American defense contractor. The statement goes on to say the United States will continue to take all necessary action to protect our people and our interests wherever they are around the world. Dave?
Rachel, while Republicans are supporting President Trump's actions days after the violent protests that damaged the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, Democrats are critical, including
Joe Biden, who issued the following. He, meaning Soleimani, supported terror and sowed chaos. None of that negates the fact that this is a hugely escalatory move in an already dangerous region. President Trump just tossed a stick of dynamite into a tinderbox.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Grafton Thomas is due back in court today. He's the man accused of attacking a Hanukkah celebration at a rabbi's house house with a machete last Saturday in Muncie, New York, wounding 5 people, one so badly the family fears he may not regain consciousness. Thomas charged with attempted murder and federal hate crimes. America's listening to Fox News.
37 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead following a violent confrontation with police on Chicago's northwest side. The encounter began yesterday in the 6000 block of West Wellington Avenue. Officers pulled over a vehicle being driven erratically by a man identified as Mariano Ocone Jr. Police chased Ocone after he fled the car. Saw he was armed with a handgun. Shots were fired and Ocone later died. The brother of Mario Ocone is demanding some answers from police following his death.
I don't know the situation, but since they were pursuing him with his kids in the car, what kind of police is this? Endangering the kids, even if he was armed or not.
The initial examination by the Cook County Medical Examiner did find the suspect suffered what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Body camera video backs up the police version of the altercation. The incident remains under investigation. 2 young brothers are dead following a murder and attempted suicide involving their mother in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. In a follow-up to a story we told you about yesterday, police now say officers found Aaliyah Newell and her 7-month-old son Amir on the ground early yesterday outside of the Water's Edge Apartments near 72nd and South Shore Drive. Officers also found Cordell Walker with cuts on his face and body, and Newell's 2-year-old son, John Tavius, unresponsive in a bathtub. Child had cuts to his face and blisters over his body from scalding hot water. Newell and Cordell remain hospitalized this morning in critical condition. Illinois' first day of legal recreational marijuana generated over $3 million in sales. State officials announcing there were over 77,000 transactions. Jazz slipped past the Bulls 102-98 at the UC. Canucks beat the Blackhawks 7-5 in Vancouver. White Sox continue to be the hottest team in baseball this offseason, making another big investment in top prospect Luis Robert before he makes his MLB debut. 6-year, $50 million contract. The news is a service of Booking.com. At Booking.com, there's a booking for every resolution. Want to be more active this year? Book a resort with a fitness center. Whatever your New Year's resolution is, Booking.com has a place to help you kickstart it. Download the Booking.com app and book your resolution today. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is all in.
I am one of the few who's never wavered in my support of Donald Trump. It's real simple. When you know that the alternative to Donald Trump is unthinkable in terms of our nation's economy, our military, our sovereignty, our borders, this is an easy call. This hasn't been hard for me.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank. I'd like to thank our customers for selecting Signature as their trusted banking partner to help build their businesses. We started Signature in 2006, and we've had the opportunity to meet so many hardworking Chicagoans. From third-generation family-owned businesses on the west side of Chicago to tech innovators at 1871. Signature Bank is proud to work across many different industries in the city and beyond. As the fastest growing, independently owned business bank in Chicago, Signature is always welcoming new customers. I'd love to meet you and learn about your business.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's BABBEL.com.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen, or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
6:07 in the AM 560 Traffic Center, and here is Jim Talamonte.
Traffic is relatively light right now around the Chicago area. We see a little bit of congestion on the inbound Stevenson around Pulaski. And traffic's a bit tight on the inbound Bishop Ford Freeway approaching the Verge. Otherwise, the expressways and tollways look pretty good. Looking at 94 in Kenosha County, southbound or eastbound 94 at Highway ML. The right lane is blocked. There is police activity there. Now, starting at 1 a.m. Saturday, overnight tonight, the exit ramp from the outbound Eisenhower to the outbound Kennedy is scheduled to close till late this year as part of the Burn Circle reconstruction project. CTA Blue Line work is scheduled this weekend at Chicago Avenue. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center, our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds today with a high 38. It'll be cloudy tonight, some snow late, little or no accumulation, low 27. Flurries tomorrow morning, a cloudy day, high 34. And then sunny and breezy on Sunday, high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
37 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and Victor Davis Hanson has a good piece at Spectator USA. Why Trump will win again in 2020. Remember, VDH has my favorite line in summing up the 2016 Trump campaign in 2016, which is
what?
His entire campaign is basically can be summed up in terms of its value proposition as, you know, all those elites in Hollywood, on Wall Street, in Washington, D.C., in academia. I know them all, and they're even worse than you think. I'm going to be your vessel for a reckoning. And has that changed much in 2020? Well, VDH does some unscientific polling of people in different communities in which he operates. He starts out his piece talking about being in southern Michigan because he teaches a class at Hillsdale College every September during his vacation from the Hoover Institution and from California. He writes, each morning I try to bike a 15 to 18 mile bike ride out to the Michigan countryside. I've been doing that since 2004. Over the previous 12 years, even this conservative rural Michigan county had shown no real excitement over George W. Bush, John McCain, or Mitt Romney. But in 2016, Trump signs, both professionally made and hand-painted, had sprouted everywhere, on barns, lawns, sheds. Whatever Trumpism was, lots of southern Michiganders seemed ready for it. 6 weeks ago, so this would be like late November, 6 weeks ago, I rode the identical rural Michigan routes. Sometimes I stopped and talked to a few people. The script was almost predictable. After the requisite throat clearing, Trump should cut back on tweeting, they said. They were even more eager to vote for him this time than last. Now, the backdrop of California. In my hometown near my Central California farm, I spent autumn 2016 talking to mostly Mexican-American friends with whom I went to grammar or high school. I presume then they must hate Trump. But that's not what he heard from them. Most said they liked Trump's style, whether or not they were voting for him. They were tired of gangs in their neighborhoods and swamped government services, especially at the nearby DMV. I remember thinking that Trump, of all people, might get a third of the Latino vote. During the last 2 weeks, I made the same rounds. High school football game at my alma mater, talks with Mexican-American professionals, some rural farm events. Were those impressions 3 years ago hallucinations? Hardly. Trump has, if anything, increased. Trump's support has, if anything, increased, and not just because of record low unemployment and an economy that has turned even my once ossified rural community into a bustle of shopping, office construction, and home building, with now hiring signs commonplace. This time I noticed my friends always mention Trump in contrast to their damnation of California. The near stupidity, the nearby stupid high-speed rail to nowhere, the power shutoffs, and so forth. Yeah, actually, in response to Gavin Newsom, speaking of juvenile tweeting,
yeah,
it's not a sickness that only afflicts Trump. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, tweeted out a list of his accomplishments as governor. And that
was that everyone's New Year's Day gift.
It was, yeah. That's what it was intended to be. Mike Schellenberger, who is a contributor to Forbes, writes very good pieces on environmental issues. I mean, he went off. Dangerous, unprecedented blackouts. Homeless population increased 130 to 150,000. Home building declined 20%. 200,000 person exodus, the first ever loss of a congressional seat in California, which is going to happen after the census. All the result of your failure to confront a reality and show courage for a change. He goes on to talk about the blackouts. Instead of holding PG&E, the utility company, to account, you bailed it out. Instead of building new homes, you imposed rent rationing. Instead of fighting poverty and fixing schools, you made college athletes millionaires. Instead of protecting clean air, you tried to kill our largest source of clean power. Instead of standing up to the unions, you helped them ban freelancers. Instead of taking responsibility for the homeless crisis you helped create, you blamed Trump. Instead of governing, you write juvenile tweets and a narcissistic run for president. At least Nero played the fiddle. Huh. So I think that's what VDH is talking about, and Mike Schellenberger is just giving form to it. VDH goes on to say, to write, when I talked to the Central Valley Rotary Club in 2016, I assumed on arrival such doctrinaire Republicans would be establishment never-Trumpers, but few were then. When I returned to speak this week again, which is after Christmas, I found that none are now. These business people, lawyers, accountants, and educators talked of the money-making economy, but I sensed, as with my hometown friends, that same something else. That same something else he describes as one friend told him, anything he dishes out, they deserve. Anything Trump dishes out, they deserve. I take that, writes Hansen, I take it by that he meant he and his friends are frequently embarrassed by Trump's crudity, but not nearly so much as they are enraged by the sanctimonious of an Adam Schiff or the smug bombshell monotony of media anchors like we were just talking about with respect to impeachment theater. This time around, there's an even greater sense of anger and need for retribution, especially among the most unlikely Trump voters. It reflects a fed-up payback for 3 years of nonstop efforts to overthrow an elected president, anger at anti-Trump hysteria, and weariness at being lectured. Is that you? And is that those within your social circles? Anything he dishes out, they deserve. Does that animate you as much or more than the performance of the economy under President Trump? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line, because I feel like that's a big part of it. But I want to make sure I'm not in a bubble either. And, VDH is just talking to regular people in different locales, a deep blue state in California, a bit of a swing state these days with Trump in Michigan. But an interesting cross-section of people in his community, too. And it's not, obviously, the elite areas of California. He's not out there in Silicon Valley. It's funny, too, because Peggy Noonan, who would be one of the more establishmentarian Republicans, in her piece on 2020, she writes this. The past decade saw the rise of the woke progressives who dictate what words can be said and ideas held, thus poisoning and paralyzing American humor, drama, entertainment, culture, and journalism. In the coming 10 years, someone will effectively stand up to them. They are the most hated people in America, and their entire program is accusation. You're a racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic. You're a bigot, a villain, a white male, a patriarchal misogynist. Your day is over. They never have a second move. Bow to them, as most do, and they'll accuse you even more of newly imagined sins. They claim to be vulnerable victims and moral. Actually, they're not. They're mean, and they seek to kill, and like all bullies, they're cowards. That's pretty pointed rhetoric from Peggy Noonan to any particular group, but she hammers it, and she hammers the Democrats, too, who she describes their primary candidates as flailing, and they don't even know they're flailing. They ought to know they went too far left too quickly, writes Peggy Noonan. Don't you feel, I mean, maybe not in Lakeview, but don't you feel there's a lot of people who say, yeah, I get what people are saying about tweets and rhetorical choices, but let me tell you something. The people he's going after deserve everything he dishes out because they're as Peggy Noonan describes them. You get that?
I understand that, but then, their point of contention, too, is when he tweets about our two women, they take that personally. Like, anytime he's rude to a woman, they think he should have more class than that. Which,
okay, but
then if you look at the Ayatollah from Iran, everyone's tweeting. People don't realize, Benjamin Netanyahu tweets. He's coming home from Greece because of the killing of the Iran commander. So everyone tweets.
Well, right.
He's just a little harsher than others. He's a bombastic New York businessman. And he's not changed. He is true to himself.
Right. And
he's never changed. He's never pretended to be something that he's not.
And so the question then is, right. I don't like this. I wish he wouldn't do that. But, I have no sympathy for his targets. That's sort of the rub. Yeah. I don't like it necessarily. It makes me a little uncomfortable. He could rise above it. He doesn't always have to punch down. But you know what? I have no sympathy for his targets. They deserve everything he dishes out. Is that attitude prevalent within your social circles at all?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and happy, healthy New Year, and wishing you success in 2020.
Thank you.
This week I was watching The Five with Dana Perino, and she's pretty good at predictions. She offered the comment that for the coming election, there will be a record turnout. I was just wondering how that might impact the results of the election. If you got any comments on that.
Thanks for the call, Bob.
If that'll hurt or help Trump. That's a good question.
Well, it depends on what the composition of the turnout is, doesn't it? Record or no record. I mean, these elections, particularly now, are base plus elections, which I go back to say, which is why Joe Biden is the weakest candidate the Democrats can nominate. Because he doesn't bring the base. He doesn't bring an enthusiastic base. Trump obviously does.
Yeah.
And can he pull off enough people that are centrist, center right, center left a little bit, who have the same attitude as some of the people that Victor Davis Hanson is referencing per the conversations in Michigan and California. Based on, there are some things. I don't necessarily want to hang out with the guy. He's a bit of a blunt instrument for me. But you know what? There's some people who deserve to be visited by a blunt instrument. And that blunt instrument has been more right than wrong. And the results for me and my quality of life have been more good than bad. I think most people, particularly in the middle, that don't come to the table necessarily with any particular hardened political philosophy, are very pragmatic about these sorts of political decisions. And I think right now, I mean, if the election were held today, I think that would accrue to the benefit of Trump. Tom in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Been a bit. Hope you guys are doing well. A blunt instrument is exactly right, Dan. And this is a reckoning, and it's going to continue for another 11 months because the people that are telling us what we're supposed to believe this, and we're supposed to believe that. And as I think you just said, it was Peggy Noonan that said, nobody likes these people. And they're the ones telling us what we have to believe when they're the ones that sit around and judge everyone. This is the United States. I started with Trump. Trump was a New Yorker. I used to be so anti-New Yorker as a Chicago. That just goes back to sports. But the more you listen to him, you ain't got to like everything he says. But to listen to other people and they're telling you what you're supposed to think, they can go scratch. God bless you guys.
Thanks for the call, Tom. They can go scratch,
Scratch.
is a Chicago saying,
Wow.
not a New York
I don't think I've ever heard that before. Have you?
Oh, yeah. Locker room talk.
Oh, okay.
Megan
I'll
in
be sure to
Evanston.
transition so I can get into your locker room to learn those lingos.
Megan in Evanston, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy New Year. Just
Happy
a
New
quick comment. Yes, 100%. People are tired of it, and they're so happy that Trump is standing up. And those people do deserve what they're getting. So thanks for taking my call. Great show.
Thanks, Megan. And I think, too, a lot of people that don't want to fight in public or they don't want to draw the ire of the woke walkers,
Right.
you know, you won't hear from them except when they cast their vote. That's going to be
Yeah,
their path of retribution. Dan in Libertyville.
Thanks for taking my call. Good morning to you both. I am 100% with Trump in every one that he slams because they generally deserve it, and sometimes I wish he did more. And I can't stress enough how happy I am and how he slammed an Iranian terrorist who took part in creating IEDs that killed over 700 American soldiers and wounded thousands. That's my president. He found a terrorist and he said, kill him, and he's gone. That's the kind of decisive president we need.
Thanks, Dan.
And don't forget the tweet, too, that said there's nothing you can do about it.
From the Ayatollah.
From the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The other Dan in McHenry.
Yeah, two points, guys. Good morning, guys, first of all, but 2 points. One, we've been forced to live in this bubble by the media and by the left for years. Trump's been the only one tearing that down since 2016. And two, people are outraged with the Russia stuff, with all the stuff that happened right under our nose, with our own FBI, with everything else. We are out for blood. We want to see this president overcome these people, and they deserve everything they get. That's all I got.
Thanks for the call, Dan. And you know, and also too, remember there's our options. It's going to be Trump versus somebody else, not Trump in a vacuum. So you know you're getting pretty familiar with the socialist options. How about Michael Bloomberg, who's $120 million of spend into this race so far?
Oh, my gosh. What a colossal waste of money.
What's he talking about? Michael Bloomberg tweeting, as president, I'll turn the East Room into an open office plan where I'll sit with our team. I'll use the Oval Office for some official functions, never for tweeting, but the rest of the time I'll be where a leader should be, with the team. Okay, Michael Scott. I mean, okay, Lumberg. He's talking. He's measuring the drapes. Michael Bloomberg. He's talking about. By the way, this management guru, one of the richest men in the world. He should know. I mean, he doesn't care because it's just like pandering to like I'm a regular guy. I'm not Little Lord Fauntleroy like I actually am. The open office floor plan, a study from Harvard a couple of years ago, that was covered by Inc. magazine. A magazine for entrepreneurs. One of the dumbest management fads of all time, the open office plan. And the Harvard study finds that
That's all that's in Silicon Valley is the open office plan.
Finds that, and that's become parodied on Silicon Valley on the show.
Oh, I love that show.
A new study from Harvard showed that when employees move from a traditional office space to an open plan office, it doesn't cause them to interact more socially or more frequently. Instead, the opposite happens. They start using email and messaging with much greater frequency than before. In other words, even if collaboration were a great idea, open plan offices are the worst possible way to make it happen.
People still want their own space and privacy.
I just love this. He's wrong. I mean, he's pandering and it's just great. Open office plan in the East Room. That's Michael Bloomberg's big idea for you. He's really you-focused, isn't he? Dave in Lamont.
Yeah, hello there. Am I on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just commenting on, wanted to comment on your former subject of our president. Can he be reelected? What does it look like in the bubble that we each individually live in? And I'm still fearful. I live in this bubble of Chicago, Illinois. Things are headed south financially, culturally. And people I work with, my extended family, my nieces and nephews have gone to local colleges, even places like Wheaton College. They're not for Trump. He's the worst person ever. And then you read the media. Now, you mentioned this. This is fascinating. Here, our embassy is attacked in Iraq, I believe, and we respond immediately, defend our people, and take out some enemies of the United States in so doing. And I happened to read some comments yesterday on HuffPost. The article came up. Holy smokes! You'd think like Trump in America attacked orphanages and killed babies all over the world or something, and it's incredible. And then I went to a blog, not a blog, comment section on New Jerusalem Post, a newspaper. They're in the real world. They face existential every day, and they're all like, thank God, basically, that somebody's standing up to people that wanted to kill and destroy these Iranian
yeah.
leaders. So,
well, that's it, Dave. Thanks for the call. I mean, so this is why you should read a lot of outlets. Treat HuffPo and some of these leftist outlets that are just agitprop purveyors. Treat them as glass menageries of the left, because that's what they are. They're trapped in those little bubbles. But I'm here to tell you that, Trump's not going to win Illinois. He's not going to win California. He's not going to win New York. But there's a whole other thing going on outside of those islands of socialism where the population has been lobotomized by big government. There's a whole other thing going on. And that's what I think VDH and Peggy Noonan are both speaking to.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I just want to tell you that I can't believe what this has done, and I've only been taking it for, a couple of months? I don't know. I got to the point where I was very discouraged, and my energy was down, and I tell you, my wife says this stuff is wonderful. I feel so much better. My attitude is different. My energy is good, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Is this your situation? Cellular or data services are bad inside your building or vehicle? People notice. People complain. This is Kelly Piles. My company is PC Net Services. We can fix that annoying problem. Resolving this is not as complicated or as expensive as you might think, but it does make a difference. I have worked with the largest cellular providers in the nation. We could improve your cellular and data signal inside your building with all major carriers. No more dropped calls, no more complaints. First responders, government agencies, and business owners have used us to get a better signal inside their building. We can do the same for you. PC Net Services, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business connecting you to the world.
Get better cell service in your building, no matter which carrier. For a free analysis, call PC Net Services, 815-545-4439. 815-545-4439.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the U.S. State Department urges all Americans to leave Iraq immediately.
At 6:36, we'll talk to contributing editor for Rolling Stone, Matt Taibbi. He's no Trump fan, But at least he has questions. Why don't more members of his profession take the same approach?
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
36 degrees at 6:31 as Iran vows to take revenge for the killing of a top general. Pentagon is defending an early morning airstrike, saying it was aimed at deterring future Iranian attacks. Fox's Rachel Sutherland reporting from Washington.
Calling the airstrike a decisive defensive action, the Pentagon claims Qasem Soleimani was actively planning to kill American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. In a statement, the Defense Department also says General Soleimani and his Quds Force were responsible for the deaths of hundreds of U.S. and coalition service members and orchestrated recent attacks on bases in Iraq, one of which killed an American defense contractor. The statement goes on to say the United States will continue to take all necessary action to protect our people and our interests wherever they are around the world. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Meantime, New Jersey Senator and 2020 presidential candidate Cory Booker says no one is disagreeing that Soleimani was a bad actor.
Larger strategic situation in that area. We have a president who has had really a failure in his Iranian policy, who's had no larger strategic plan and has made that region less stable and less safe.
Former Vice President Joe Biden weighing in, saying the general deserved to be brought to justice, but the president, he says, tossed a stick of dynamite into a tinderbox. The National Park Service this morning says a Texas man who went missing in the Grand Canyon last month has been found alive. 58-year-old Martin O'Connor of Texas was on a difficult trail that leads down to the river from the canyon's south rim. Subaru recalling this morning some 2019 Crosstrek, Forester, and Ascent vehicles. The recall is tied to a problem with a ventilation valve that can separate and send fragments into the engine, ultimately making that engine stall. Charges are pending following a crash involving a police vehicle on Chicago's south side. A sedan ran into a squad car head-on last night after swerving into oncoming traffic in the 8400 block of South Vincennes Avenue. A 17-year-old girl this morning is fighting for her life following a shooting in East Chicago, Indiana. Police say the teen was shot in the face while driving last night in the 4800 block of Walsh Street. The girl remains hospitalized in critical condition, and there have been no arrests. Jazz over the Bulls, 102-98. Canucks beat the Blackhawks 7-5 in Vancouver. Big Ten hoops, Michigan State by 20 over the Fighting Illini. The news, a service of Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. That satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, it's really tasty too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Winter stinks. Snow, ice, freezing temperatures, more snow. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Huatuco, Mexico. You'll stay at the Secrets Huatuco Resort and Spa from March 28th through April 4th. It's a beautiful, adults-only, unlimited luxury resort located on Conejos Bay. Don't wait to book your Passport to Paradise trip with AM 560 and Apple Vacations. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. Presented by Joe Cotton Ford.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I love the products. I haven't had a cold since I've started. My grandkids get sick all the time, and I don't catch what they have. I'm going to be 68 tomorrow, and I'm in great shape, and I'm very grateful. I know the Balance of Nature, the simplicity of it and the purity of it has just been a tremendous blessing for me.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program.
We've partnered with Food for the Poor to feed thousands of families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are desperate. Food for the Poor is working with local partners at feeding sites to make sure these families survive.
And your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
That's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Netkowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. One more time, the number 847-472-8951.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
637. Get a check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
CTA Blue Line trains on the O'Hare-bound side are standing near Jefferson Park due to an obstruction. Niles, there's crash on Milwaukee Avenue at Oakton. On 94 in Pleasant Prairie southbound at Highway ML. Police activity has the right lane blocked. Looking at the Kennedy inbound at Keeler, there's a stall in the left lane there, but traffic still moves nicely on the Kennedy both ways. New delays to report on the Edens or the Eisenhower. About Stevenson, it's congested Pulaski to Kedzie. 35 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound Plot at 34. The Ryan, I-57, good inbound Bishop Ford. Little tide approaching the verge. Tollways are fine, northwest Indiana as well. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, cloudy and 38 today. We have 37 right now. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
On AM 560.
You are fake news.
The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and we've talked about the work of our next guest, Matt Taibbi, contributing editor for Rolling Stone, over many months now, because even though he is no fan of Trump, he's not self-identified as part of some media resistance either. He's actually done really good pieces asking a lot of important questions about the conduct of those in power, past and present, past including Jim Comey and John Brennan and Loretta Lynch and the Obama administration, the Mueller investigation, the Durham investigation. So doing what a journalist is supposed to do, I guess, question things that don't make sense or bump up statements that are in conflict with one another. He also is a podcaster. He co-hosts a podcast, Rolling Stone podcast, Useful Idiots. He recently had Michael Moore, the documentarian, on. And this was the exchange, Michael Moore offering his take on race in America.
I refuse to participate in post-racial America. I refuse to say because we elected Obama that suddenly that means everything's okay. White people have changed. White people have not changed. Two-thirds of all white guys voted for Trump. That means anytime you see 3 white guys walking at you down the street toward you, 2 of them voted for Trump. You need to move over to the other sidewalk. Because these are not good people that are walking towards you. You should be afraid of them.
And the third one probably says, I'm thinking about voting for Trump. Right?
Yeah, the third one is you and me.
Yeah. Right.
We're traitors. We're traitors to our race. That's how they see us, too, by the way.
For more on all of the above, we're pleased to be joined by Matt Taibbi, contributing editor for Rolling Stone, podcaster at Useful Idiots, author of the book Hate, Inc., Why Today's Media Makes Us Despise One Another. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
Morning. I mean, I want to get to your reporting, but I just have to get your handle on what Michael Moore said on your podcast. Look, I voted for Trump, but I don't think I don't think of like this at all, period. But I don't think white people who didn't are traitors to my race. The Michael Moores of the world, continuing with the theme of deplorables, they think they're helping themselves?
No, and look, yeah, I probably should have said something in that moment. But look, in the on the sort of left-siding media world, it's a trope. It's an inescapable trope that anybody who voted for Trump is a bad person. So when he went into that spiel about something that's factually true, which is that two of every three white men voted for Trump. And then he says that those are not good people. I was just kind of hoping that we would just move on to the next question as quickly as possible, but it blew up into a thing, and I understand why. But that's how people feel about Trump. People have very, very strong feelings about it. I've written a lot about how some of this has gotten out of hand to the point where people are not able to see issues for what they really are because they're so focused on Trump the individual. And yeah, you're right. I do think it's a continuation of that instinct that led to the deplorables comment, which also is, I thought, counterproductive at the time and said so.
But he took it a step further and said, but then you should cross the street as if they're going to attack us or something. Come on. I mean, I know Michael Moore. I worked with him in Detroit at Fox 2, and, you can confront him. He's not like some holier than thou person who you hold on a pedestal.
He must not have heard the Jussie Smollett thing was a hoax.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
He must not have heard that.
Because we're a MAGA country. But I mean, why do you regret that you didn't say something even about that, about the violence aspect of it?
I guess I have a little bit of a different approach towards interviewing. I think people, and I interview people from all across the spectrum. I think when they feel comfortable, they will sometimes reveal themselves a little bit more. So I'm not constantly interrupting and telling them, this or that. Well, that might have been an instance where I could have said something, but it is what it is.
No, I hear you.
I think
I appreciated the interview because for exactly what you just said. People reveal who they are. That's fine. That's what Michael Moore thinks. It's ironic. I mean, Michael Moore is predicting Trump's going to win in 2020, sans some sort of exogenous event. And he's sort of blind to the fact that in part he may win re-election in 2020 because of the incendiary remarks of people like Michael Moore. But that's fine. I mean, I want people to tell me who they are, not posture to pretend they're something they're not. So I'm not taking you to task for it. I just wanted to review it with you. That's all.
No, I get it. I do get it. When Hillary Clinton said the deplorables thing at the time, I've written about this. It's interesting, the progression on this, because when she first said it, it was kind of the universal belief among journalists, even people who kind of work in the sphere of journalism that I do, that it was a huge unforced error, that you can't insult voters that way, that it's fair game to go after politicians, but once you start making huge generalizations about big blocks of voters, that's a politically losing thing to do, in addition to probably being wrong, morally on some level. But once Trump got elected, that went out the window, and not only did that become acceptable, but remember the original formulation was that I think only a half or a third of the voters were deplorables. And then it went to being all of them were.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I see that phenomenon. I don't personally go there. I don't think it's a wise thing to do. I also don't happen to believe it, but it's something that is a phenomenon in the press now.
You've written a couple of important pieces in Rolling Stone that I've referenced, and I want to go over them. But before we get to that, I just want this development with some documents that were released, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, FOIA request. They've got effectively what turned out to be transcripts of Andy McCabe, former deputy director and acting director of the FBI, Andy McCabe, basically admitting that he lied to the FBI, and
right.
And his "Yep, I did" it was basically his admission that he had told them something different in a first meeting than was true, and he copped to it in a second meeting. You know, the other thing that's across the political spectrum here is watching people in charge of our law enforcement agencies and spy agencies with immense power seemingly above the law. For all the talk on both sides of politicians aren't above the law, the president is above the law. I think the question a lot of Americans' minds, and it used to be on the minds of the left too, are people in the fourth branch of government, particularly law enforcement and intelligence, are they above the law?
They absolutely are. And the thing that's been incredibly concerning to me in the last 3 years or so, and I've written a lot about this, is it's something that you just mentioned, which is that the preoccupation with abuses of power by intelligence and counterintelligence and law enforcement, that used to be a big concern of people who identify as politically left, and that has completely disappeared in the age of Trump. And we routinely see incidents where law enforcement or intelligence or counterintelligence behaves badly, does inappropriate things, and people are completely disinterested in hearing about it on the other side of the aisle. And just to take an example, if Andy McCabe is lying to investigators, how can you as a person, if you're going to go and say, oh, look at George Papadopoulos was convicted and criminally convicted, and so are all these other defendants in the Trump sphere for lying to investigators. I mean, if you're going to get upset about the one thing, you have to get upset about the other, and it's worse when a law enforcement person does it, frankly. And I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why it's happened that way, but I think it's really not a positive thing at all.
You wrote a piece a few weeks back that we're in a permanent coup, and you go, which is something a lot of people on a lot of Trump supporters say too. You provide a lot of detail to support your contention, your perspective on why you're driving to that point, including sort of imagining what the reaction would have been if you had the heads of the spy agencies and law enforcement agencies accusing President Obama of having links to Al Qaeda and prosecuting a case against him in part surreptitiously, just to try to, I think, get in the minds of the left to say, would you like that? If you wouldn't like that, then you shouldn't like some of what's going on at present. And I wonder how you're received within media circles. You're a pretty high-profile media guy. As you said, you're sort of center-left. And writing pieces like that, I'm number one, getting it published in Rolling Stone. Number two, how you're received by your colleagues when you write pieces like this.
Well, I've been kind of the kid with lice for 3 years now, because I had questions about the Russia thing from the start. I lived in Russia for a long time, for over a decade, and I speak Russian, and the story never made any sense to me at all. It similar to 9/11 truth, it would have been an extremely elaborate conspiracy to pull off, and it's not in the style of either Donald Trump or the Russians, frankly. But that wasn't so much the big thing. The big thing was episodes like the one you just referenced, where I was looking at in January 2017 when James Comey and John Brennan and Jim Clapper and Mike Rogers, they presented the incoming president with the Steele dossier, and basically with the idea that they were going to make him aware of blackmail material, and they promised to keep it close. And then within like 10 seconds, it was leaked to all the news agencies so that everybody could write about basically the P tape. I mean, that was what happened there. And that's no matter how you look at it, that's an act of insubordination by the top spy agencies against the president, and it certainly doesn't make the president look good or the United States look good. If it were anybody else, people would be completely freaking out about that moment. And of course, it continued from there for 3 more years of leaks after that. And I just don't understand the lack of concern about the institutional response there. It seems to me a big story, but it's something nobody wants to talk about.
And And the lack of accountability, too. You know, if you turn out to have been wrong on something, it's fine. Everybody's wrong on things, so just own it. But there's no owning it. There's just sort of glossing over it. This other piece that you wrote, 5 questions that remain after the release of the Horowitz report. I mean, you just pull from the report, basically just bumping up statements that, for example, Comey and McCabe made that contradict a statement that John Brennan made. You pull statements that Loretta Lynch made that contradict a statement that Comey made. Why are you one of the few who actually wants those contradictions explained?
Well, when the Horowitz report came out, the only headline that anybody wanted to take from it was the one about bias. You know, so as soon as they had a headline that they could extract from it, which said that the start of the investigation, met the minimal requirements of an authorized investigation, and there was a line in there about a lack of bias at the beginning. And that was, nobody wanted to dig any more deeply than that, except it's a 416-page report, and there's a lot in there, and it's manifestly obvious if you read it that Horowitz, who I don't think is any flaming conservative or anything like that, but he was deeply, deeply troubled about what he was finding. And yeah, there are contradictory statements between the FBI and the CIA and the Justice Department about how the investigation began. And more to the point for reporters, there's all sorts of information in there to suggest that lots and lots of news stories we wrote, particularly those that are sourced to Christopher Steele, were wrong, were fake. And there hasn't been any appetite for going back and saying, yeah, gee, we messed that up. Also the Nunes memo, the Devin Nunes memo, which was universally panned, and there's no way to look at it now and not say that it was basically accurate throughout. And I think even if you're, not a fan of Devin Nunes politically, you got to own up to that, don't you? I just don't understand that either.
Well, and I wonder if there's any, if there's some pangs of remorse or conscience, at least in some quarters. And to that, I point out, I try to look for green shoots here. Eric Wemple, a media critic over at Washington Post, did this 5-part report on the Steele dossier and the reporting of it. And in his final installment, I mean, he really took Rachel Maddow to task over her reporting. Mm-hmm. And I respect him for doing that because I know he's no Trump fan either. Fine. You don't have to be a Trump fan. And I just wonder, does that indicate anything to you of a desire to examine perhaps how the D.C. press corps has largely conducted itself over the last 3 years, or is that just a one-off?
I think it's certainly an indicator because not only did he do it, he had to get somebody to okay it. So that suggests that the ice might be melting a little bit. Some of the same things happened when the WMD mess took place. There was a period there when it was becoming clear that there weren't going to be any WMDs, and a lot of reporters began kind of looking sideways at each other and saying, this doesn't look good for us. But it took, years for it to really become mainstream that a mistake had been made. And even then, there weren't really any consequences. It wasn't like the people who really screwed up, except for a couple of big examples, got in trouble. But, I think the lesson there is that it does take this business an awfully long time to admit mistakes. And it's hard for them to do it when it's mixed up with the question of whether or not Donald Trump is going to win re-election for a lot of reporters. I think they think that if they admit that, it's going to be giving him political capital, and they don't want to do that, and so they won't. And I just don't think that's a legitimate reason not to own up to it, because your readers certainly see that, and in that meantime, they're not going to have as much confidence in you.
He is Matt Taibbi, contributing editor for Rolling Stone, podcaster, Useful Idiots is the podcast, and the author of the book Hate Inc., Why Today's Media Makes Us Despise One Another. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs, who returns on Monday. Vanguard eliminates commissions from online trading. Amazon workers say their jobs are threatened. Those stories next.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/America. That's ZipRecruiter.com/America. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/America.
If you trade your stocks or options online with the Vanguard brokerage, you'll pay no more commissions effective today. Continuing a trend among online brokers, Vanguard cut its online commission to zero yesterday. Back in October, Fidelity dropped commissions, and discount brokers like TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab have also lowered or eliminated trading fees. Economic reports released today include construction spending for November and the manufacturing index for December. Scattered numbers of workers at online giant Amazon say the company has threatened to fire them for saying publicly that Amazon needs to do more to battle so-called climate change. Amazon says workers should share their views internally and not with the media. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350-350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350-350. That's LIKE to 350-350 to schedule your free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has weighed in on the strike that killed Iranian general. We'll discuss that with Brett Baer at 7:07.
And the U.S. State Department urges all Americans to leave Iraq immediately. Now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Fox with the latest from the White House and the State Department on developments in Iraq. That in just a moment. A man dead after a violent confrontation with Chicago police. The family of that man disputing the Chicago police record of that event. Shots fired at a vehicle carrying children on the Dan Ryan. Big Ten hoops found Michigan State topping Illinois. Blackhawks fell to the Canucks. Jazz beat the Bulls. And the Sox continue prepping for what could be a big year. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7.
This is a Fox News alert. The Secretary of State says the U.S. had to act. I'm Dave Anthony.
This was a thoughtful approach. It was an intelligence-based approach.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also just told Fox the top Iran general taken out in a U.S. airstrike in Iraq had been responsible for hundreds of American deaths and was plotting more attacks days after the violent protests at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad.
His travels throughout the region and his efforts to make a significant strike against Americans. There would have been many Muslims killed as well, Iraqis, people in other countries as well.
The State Department in Iraq is warning Americans there to leave immediately. Iran State TV has shown people in the streets mourning.
Mercy be upon the soul of General Soleimani. In the name of God.
An Iran supreme leader is warning of a harsh retaliation.
In the past, the Iranians have
often taken time to respond, whether it was shooting down a U.S. drone or targeting that Saudi airfield. The response likely will come. It is a question of when and where. Additionally, we are learning this morning that the Iranians have appointed a replacement for Soleimani. That is Ismail Khani, a deputy of Soleimani who was responsible for a lot of Iran's smuggling operations.
Fox's Trey Inks. Now, Democrats are critical, reacting to the airstrike. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress was not notified about the attack and is demanding an immediate briefing. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff says the world is better off without General Soleimani, but Americans do not want war with Iran. Democrats running for the White House are also reacting. In a statement, former Vice President Joe Biden said President Trump just tossed a stick of dynamite into a tinderbox. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders says the president's dangerous escalation brings us closer to another disastrous war in the Middle East that could cost countless lives. Dave?
And Rachel, the reaction on Wall Street. Dow futures down nearly 300 points ahead of the opening bell. America's listening to Fox News.
Skies are cloudy. We have 36 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead following a violent confrontation with Chicago police on Chicago's northwest side. Authorities say the encounter began yesterday in the 6,000 block of West Wellington, where police tried to curb a vehicle being driven erratically by Mariano Ocone Jr. Police then chased Ocone out of that car as he fled, then saw he was armed with a handgun. Shots were fired and Ocone later died. The brother of Mariano Ocone is demanding answers from police following the death.
I don't know the situation, but since they were pursuing him with his kids in the car, what kind of police is this? Endangering the kids, even if he was armed or not.
An initial examination by the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office found the suspect suffered what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, along with an additional gunshot wound to the upper body that was likely fired by police. Charges are pending following a crash involving a police vehicle on the south side. A sedan ran headlong into a squad car last night after swerving into oncoming traffic in the 8400 block of South Vincennes. Bond is set at $3 million for an optometrist accused of killing his girlfriend in Schaumburg in November. Anthony Prate appeared in Cook County Court yesterday on first-degree murder charges in the death of Magojada Daniel. Prosecutors say Prate stabbed Daniel dozens of times during a heated argument in the victim's home. If convicted, Prate faces up to 60 years in prison. American Airlines says it's talking to Chicago-based Boeing about compensation for grounded planes and will share some of the proceeds with airline employees. American had 24 of those Boeing 737 MAX jets when the planes were grounded in March after 2 deadly crashes. Jazz over the Bulls, 102-98. Canucks over the Blackhawks, 7-5 in Vancouver. And number 16, Michigan State, a Big Ten basketball win over the Fighting Illini, 76-56. The news, a service of Staples. Staples has all the organizational supplies you need for the new year, like planners, folders, and calendars. This week, desk pad calendars are just $3.99 each. Save on all your office essentials at Staples. Offer ends 1/4/20 at Staples. 7:04, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager still doesn't understand the impeachment.
No member came here to impeach the president. How does she say that with a straight face? But truth is not a left-wing value. What they always say he violated the Constitution, but what did he violate in the Constitution? Has there ever been an impeachment where only one party wanted the president impeached? No. This is unprecedented.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Attention maintenance coordinators. If you manage an industrial facility, then you know how critical it is to manage a consistent maintenance staff. During outages, when you're shorthanded, Vans has your back.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Whether you need one person for 8 hours or a large crew for a month, we can supplement your maintenance team. Our personnel are trained mechanics familiar with all material handling processes. Our expertise extends to fabricating, sheet metal, millwright, and ironwork jobs. Our men can work alongside your repairmen, or we can provide an entire crew complete with equipment depending on your requirements.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your maintenance team. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
It's the year-end sale at Mattress Firm. Shop now and save up to $600 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen, or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend just $4.99.
7:07. Check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
We are seeing mild delays now on some of the Chicago expressways. Eastbound Eisenhower, traffic bunches up between Damon and the Burn Circle due to the ongoing construction there. It's 31 minutes from 390 to downtown. Outbound 5 at 29. The ramp from the outbound Ike to the outbound Kennedy scheduled to close at 1 a.m. Saturday. It's overnight tonight. Construction till late this year. The Edens and the Kennedy are fine. Inbound Stevenson, traffic's heavy Cicero to Kedzie and Ashland to the Ryan. 37 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5 at 34. Inbound Ryan, got a 2-minute delay from 18th to the Circle. I-57's good, Bishop Ford, little congested, Cottage Grove to the merge. Tollway traffic is light. And that's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, cloudy and 38 today. It's 36 right now. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just gave an interview to CNN about the strike that killed Quds General Soleimani in Baghdad last night. And Pompeo saying, among other things,
This is a man who inflicted enormous harm not only on American lives, but created terribly destructive activities supporting Lebanese Hezbollah, Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, all of the bad actors in the Middle East. Qasem Soleimani was at the center of all of it.
Bill Roggio from Foundation for the Defense of Democracies attaching some detail to what Pompeo just referenced, saying it's more than a decade too late. In point of fact, the Bush and Obama administrations knew Soleimani, knew what he was up to, and the terrorist organizations that he was directing, as Pompeo just referenced, responsible for the deaths of at least 600 U.S. soldiers, tens of thousands of Iraqi soldiers, police, and civilians, says Bill Roggio from the Foundation of Defense of Democracy.
And Mike Pompeo says people are celebrating in Iran.
We've watched these protests over the last weeks. They weren't burning American flags. They were demanding that Iraqi political leadership stop their kleptocracy, stop their political shenanigans. And Qasem Soleimani was at the center of that. He was driving bad outcomes for the Iraqi people. He was causing many Muslims in the region to be killed. I saw last night there was dancing in the streets in parts of Iraq. We have every expectation that people not only in Iraq but in Iran will view the American action last night as giving them freedom to have the opportunity for success and prosperity for their nations. And while the political leadership may not want that, the people in these nations will demand it.
And this morning, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, calling for 3 days of public mourning and then retaliation.
Catherine Herridge, formerly of Fox, now at CBS, she tweeted out last night, Scoop, senior U.S. government official, confirms to CBS the strike was in response to active threat to U.S. interests in the region personally overseen by Soleimani. Official made clear U.S. prepared to take further action if diplomats, soldiers threatened by his replacement. So just to be clear, with the left doing their pro forma call for congressional authorization or information, Iran attacked U.S. soldiers, killed an American contractor. U.S. troops are legally there. They're there at the pleasure of the Iraqi government, legally there, and they have a right to retaliate, even preemptively, to quell the threat. That's what they did. Congressional authorization not needed in this case. And I'll tell you what, something else here too. For as much criticism as Trump gets with respect to his perhaps knowledge of American history, he's learned a couple of lessons of recent American history. He learned the lesson of Benghazi, and he learned the lesson of the hostage crisis in 1979 and Jimmy Carter's fecklessness during that crisis. And both were avoided. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Bret Baier, Fox News anchor, of course, special report, 5 p.m. weekdays, Chicago time, and his just released book, 3 Days at the Brink, FDR's Daring Gamble to Win World War II, his latest 3-day series. Bret Baier, thanks so much for joining us. Happy New Year. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Morning. So for as much as criticism as Trump gets from the left, also as being sort of seat of his pants, no coherence, no consistency, this has been a pretty consistent and measured approach he's taken to Iran, both Secretary of Defense Esper and Mike Pompeo, describing the last 2 months that has brought us to last night.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Esper and Pompeo in recent days continue the warnings that President Trump had delivered, which was if American service people or American interests are attacked, the response will be swift. Esper said on our air the other day, the game has changed, in part because what you mentioned there, and we've confirmed it as well through U.S. intelligence and through diplomats in the region, that there was an imminent attack. There was something big, according to one diplomat, that was being planned by Soleimani and the Iran-backed Shia militia in Iraq. And whether it was on the U.S. embassy or other interests in the region, it was in the works. And that is what led to this action, we are told. Now, Democrats will say that killing Soleimani makes him far more dangerous as a martyr for Iranians than it would be if he were alive, and that they will continue to say that the president is kind of haphazard and not strategic in the big picture. Republicans will say that the president laid down a marker and stood by it, as opposed to President Obama, who drew a line in the sand and didn't. And they will say that this sends a message that you can't screw with America, and if you do, the retaliation will be swift. Now, Iran will punch back. We just don't know when and how.
But President George W. Bush, Barack Obama, both, refused to kill General Soleimani, fearing it would lead to war. Do you think that's going to happen now in this case?
Well, I don't know if it's going to lead to war. I think there has to be some thinking, like, wait, these guys are serious inside Tehran. And remember that you're talking, I spent a lot of time in Iraq back in my days covering the Pentagon and the White House. I was there when Soleimani was funneling in these massive roadside bombs and IEDs to the Shia militia that were killing Americans and maiming Americans by the thousands. He was active not only in Iraq, but Syria, Lebanon, and even Afghanistan. Soleimani was like a big mastermind. and considered in the big picture strategically a bigger get than al-Baghdadi, and some people are saying a bigger get than Osama bin Laden because of the impact on the region.
Well, again, the State Department reporting, and this is your colleague Lucas Tomlinson at Fox News reporting what the State Department put out. 17% of U.S. troops killed in Iraq from 2003 to 2011, orchestrated by Iran. They credit, in a macabre way, obviously, to Soleimani. So, to your point about how big a figure he was, and the position too of, if you take on or take out anybody, any terrorist leader, which is what he effectively is, working for the largest state sponsor of terror in the world, then you're creating martyrs. I mean, this is the Obama appeasement line. So we shouldn't go after al-Baghdadi. We shouldn't go after bin Laden. We shouldn't go after Soleimani because you create martyrs. Well, you want to take out principals and architects of terrorist activities. This is not controversial. I think the Democrats are really in a difficult position in terms of the argument they're offering.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the president has been clear that he doesn't want war and he's trying to de-escalate, but power is decisive. In the Middle East, weakness is prolific, and that's how it works. If you get punched, you have to punch back. Otherwise, you look weak in the eyes of the world. Now, there were some people criticizing the president that he didn't act earlier when the drones were attacking the ships, when other things, transpired, that he didn't do something. This time he did, and he's getting criticism for it. I'll just say this, that, we're going to see some kind of response. And I think that these things are true. One, Soleimani had a lot of American blood on his hands. Two, Iran is going to do something. We don't know what or how. And three, this moment has changed completely the 2020 election, and expect it to be much more a focus on national security and foreign policy, even in the Democratic primary as early as this debate in 2 weeks.
Well, the other thing here, though, too, there's been some suggestion this is in part is Iran trying to feel out the Trump administration's resolve as it pertains to Iraq, not wanting Iraq to become a proxy state of Iran, and the concern by the administration that Iran obviously already exercises way too much influence in Iraq. But there's also this other matter, the matter of the devastation that the sanctions that were reinstituted over the last 2 years have wrought on the Iranian economy, which is fomenting a revolt on the streets of Tehran.
Yeah, listen, the sanctions are working in the eyes of putting the boot to the neck of Iran. I mean, they are feeling it, and which is in part the message that the president was sending out on Twitter, I think, this morning, which was Iran never won a war, but they always won a negotiation. And the message from the Secretary of State is de-escalation and talking. They believe that Iran could get to a place where they acknowledge that talking about the big picture and taking sanctions off and relieving sanctions is possible. I think there's going to be some retaliation. First, Senator Graham this morning saying, if you're an Iranian at an oil refinery and Iran strikes the U.S. again, I would get another job.
So, I read that tweet too. I mean, so we know that revenge is coming. It could be cyber attack, terrorism, but what does this mean for Israel? I know Benjamin Netanyahu cut his Greek island vacation short, is on his way back to Israel. They should be on alert as well, correct?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of stiffening of defenses for the Israelis and for Americans. 750 U.S. Marines now deployed to the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. You have anti-missile batteries active and deployed in Bahrain for the Navy's Fifth Fleet. There is a lot of hardening of targets to try to defend about what they think is coming. But for Netanyahu, I mean, this does, fit into what he's been talking about for quite some time, about Iran's activity in the region. And he's standing by Trump, obviously, 100% in public comments and behind the scenes.
A quick electoral question for you. Is it possible to be a softer frontrunner than Joe Biden? Down in the polls, in third place in the polls in the first two states, Iowa and New Hampshire, and raising in the fourth quarter about half as much money as Bernie Sanders did.
No, I mean, I don't think you can officially call him a front runner. I mean, I know what the national polls say, but as far as his impact and what's happening in Iowa and New Hampshire, he's a front runner in South Carolina. I will say that. But nationally, yes, the polls are up, but he's got some vulnerabilities. And actually, this foreign policy issue does not really fit into his bailiwick. Remember, the Obama administration paid pallets and pallets of cash to the Iranians. It's believed that, they were negotiating with, among others, Soleimani. He doesn't have a lot of talking points here, and it was Bob Gates, the former defense secretary, who said that Biden was on the wrong side of every major foreign policy issue that he was a part of. That's Bob Gates. So, he'll say that he has a ton of experience in this area, but I'll be interested to see how it plays in a Democratic primary, which is anxious to go the other way, which is, step out of the region and pull back.
As Oscar Wilde said, experience is the name we give our mistakes. That's Joe Biden. Bret Baier, Fox News anchor, 5 p.m. Chicago Times special report, weekdays, author of the just-released book, 3 Days at the Brink, FDR's Daring
Which took place in Tehran.
What's that?
Oh.
It took place in Tehran, the meeting between FDR, Churchill, and Stalin.
Yes, it did. All right, 3 days. It could be more timely. 3 Days at the Brink, FDR's Daring Gamble to Win World War II. You want to pick up that book for a post-Christmas stocking stuffer. Brett, thanks so much for joining us, as always. Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I was having a hard time breathing. It was hard for me to put one foot in front of the other. It was just awful. I feel 100% better. I mean, I can breathe. I don't feel that weight on my chest anymore. My head feels clearer. And my husband can tell that I seem more up about things. The fact that I feel better and my husband can tell my head is better, I'm just like singing from the rooftops about that.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Hey, I have an exclusive offer for our listeners just in time for the new year. Guess what? When you buy one set of Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow, you'll get the second set free, 2 for 1. Yes, this great deal not over yet, not just for the holidays, but into the new year. I started using my Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping much better. They keep me cooler at night. Soft, comfortable fabric that you want to get into every time you go to sleep. And don't forget to rest your head on a MyPillow as well. Mattress toppers are out there. Towels, the MyPillow towels, check those out. Anything, and all those items will be shipped for free as well. And get deep discounts on all those MyPillow products, including the pet beds. All products have a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special box, and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1, plus free shipping on your entire order. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. Be sure to tell them that Amy sent you.
Names matter. Your name, the name you've made for yourself, and the name of the company you represent. Because of you, their names people can trust. That's why at 4imprint, every name and logo is printed with certainty. We pay attention to every detail because we know the way your name appears is the way it's remembered. So you'll know for certain that every item, from the right apparel to the most popular tech items, will be right the first time, on time, every time, at a great price, guaranteed. Because when you have passion, integrity, and certainty, the only name they'll remember is yours. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4, imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, a little levity to leaven the show. This event that took place down in Missouri involves.
I'm not familiar with this event.
Involves
that you speak of.
Involves porn, a pickup truck, and a goat.
Sounds like a country song.
All right, it does. This could be made into a country song. Brandon Kirby being the protagonist.
He also had a goat with him, so the victim and the goat were left on the side of the road.
The victim called the Creek County Sheriff's Office about the incident and stolen truck. The victim said it all started at an adult video store in Carthage, Missouri.
He was asleep in the truck, and in the meantime, the subject had gotten into the truck, taken the truck, and then began his way to Tulsa.
40-year-old Brandon Kirby was able to drive away before the victim woke up.
The victim woke up, saw that it wasn't his friend, and also noticed that he had a firearm on him.
You're not my friend.
I don't know you.
There's a lot of questions that this prompts.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this story. Okay.
Like, why are you sleeping in a pickup truck with a goat in front of an adult video store? Maybe.
That's the first question.
Maybe the goat and the passenger had just.
Okay, just don't go there.
Just
gone to prom together. Okay,
just finished shopping or
watching a movie.
Just had a romantic evening, and they were a little bit tuckered out. So it's a little weird. Also, too, falling asleep in the pickup truck and then looking over and realizing, hey, that's not my friend driving the pickup truck. This has a bit of a happy ending, pun intended.
Ew.
Authorities say no one, including the goat, was injured in this incident. In Creek County, covering news that matters. Amanda Harry,
news
Fox
that matters.
23 News.
That's my favorite part of the entire story.
Covering news that matters.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of slogans.
Is that the goat?
Yeah. We have a lot of goat noise. Goats, they make funny noises, Dan.
Yes.
That's like standard.
Especially when you take him to an adult bookstore. So there you have it. It's a little bit of a Karnak, a porn, pickup truck, and a goat. But, it's another harrowing tale of the life of a law enforcement officer, at least in Creek County, Missouri, wherever that is.
Where news matters or something. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk POTUS politics with John Nolte, editor-at-large at Breitbart.com at 7:37.
And cha-ching, the sales receipts are in for the first day of marijuana sales in Illinois. The winners and the losers. And another story of it didn't take long, we'll tell you. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
37 degrees in the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. It's urging U.S. citizens to leave Iraq. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. The embassy issued a warning after a U.S. rocket attack killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. The warnings urge American citizens to heed the January 2020 travel advisory and depart immediately. As Iran vows to take revenge for the killing of that top general, the Pentagon defending that early morning airstrike. Fox's Rachel Sutherland is in Washington today.
Calling the airstrike a decisive defensive action, the Pentagon claims Qasem Soleimani was actively planning to kill American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. In a statement, the Defense Department also says General Soleimani and his Quds Force were responsible for the deaths of hundreds of U.S. and coalition service members and orchestrated recent attacks on bases in Iraq, one of which killed an American defense contractor. The statement goes on to say the United States will continue to take all necessary action to protect our people and our interests wherever they are around the world. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The battle over President Trump's impeachment is waiting for U.S. senators as they return from their holiday recess today. New food labeling, clarifying how many calories are in the food we eat. The FDA rules kick in this week, calling for 2 columns side by side with calorie information. Companies that sell less than $10 million in food a year have until January to make the changes. Lawmakers say a new bill being introduced today at the Tennessee State House would require transgender student athletes to play based on their gender at birth. If passed, any willful violations of the law would result in a school losing government funding. In addition, a $10,000 fine would be imposed, and any official found in violation would lose their job. Here in Chicago, a man is dead following a violent confrontation with Chicago police on the Northwest Side. Authorities continue investigating that encounter that began yesterday in the 6000 block of West Wellington Avenue. A 17-year-old girl is fighting for her life following a shooting in East Chicago, Indiana. The teen was shot in the face while driving last night in the 4800 block of Walsh Street. She remains hospitalized in critical condition. No one hurt after shots were fired at a vehicle carrying 2 children on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Authorities say the shooting happened yesterday near the 35th Street exit. Some of the last assets of bankrupt Johnson Publishing, former owner of Ebony and Jet magazines, will be sold off when an art collection that once decorated the company's Chicago headquarters is put at auction. The art will be auctioned January 30th at a New York gallery. Johnson Publishing filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection in April, citing debts and an unsuccessful attempt to restructure or sell that company. Chicago sports, White Sox continue to be the hottest team in baseball this offseason, making a big investment in a top prospect, Luis Robert, before he makes his Major League Baseball debut. The club and the outfielder agreeing to a 6-year, $50 million contract, meaning Robert will likely be the Sox opening day center fielder this year. Jazz over the Bulls, 102-98. Canucks over the Blackhawks, 7-5 in Vancouver. The news service of Staples. Staples has the organizational supplies you need for the new year. Planners, folders, calendars, all at great prices, like 2020 desk pad calendars, just $3.99 each. Save on all your office essentials at Staples, where there's a whole lot more in store. In-store only. Offer ends 1/4/20 at Staples. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees a robust economy.
You can't contradict that these are the best numbers of our lives.
So it was Jim Cramer, and he said no matter what you think of the president, there's no denying we are living in the best labor market in more than a generation. Well, we already know that. We've never had a better employment situation in the country than we do now.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% vine-ripened fruits and vegetables with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800 888-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up.
Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are starving. And our good friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to make sure these families survive.
And here's how your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
Dan, that's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. Through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping 8 families. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Nikowski at 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. One more time, 847-472-8951.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
7:36, AM 560 Traffic Center time, and Jim Talamonte.
Traffic is mostly light on the expressways and tollways. We do see slight delays on the inbound Eisenhower from Ashland into the Burns Circle with the ongoing construction there. It's just a 1 or 2 minute delay right now. Outbound, the ramp from the Ike to the outbound Kennedy is scheduled to close at 1 a.m. for long-term work. Edens, Kennedy, fine. Inbound Stevenson, traffic's tight. Pulaski to Kedzie and Ashland to the Rhine. 36 minutes, the drive time. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine at 34. Inbound Ryan, about a 3-minute delay, Canalport into the Circle. The ongoing work there. Outbound it's clear. I-57, Bishop Ford looking good. No problems to report on Lakeshore Drive. Tollway traffic is light. Northwest Indiana is clear. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy and 38 today. Some snow overnight. 36 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and it's an interesting piece at humanprogress.org about the eco scares of today in a historical context. You know, the end of the world in 12 years, all that business, the finger wagging of one Veruca Salt Thunberg. This is how ridiculous it is. The gaslighting that's going on. BBC put a presenter on a flight to Sweden to meet climate activist Greta Thunberg.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
BBC flew to Sweden to meet with and interview Greta Thunberg. What's controversial about that?
No, that's interesting. I'd love to hear how it went.
Well, you don't understand.
They put her on a plane. They should have taken a train, but then you can't. Then you have to take a ferry.
This was the whole conversation at the BBC. Yeah. This was the conversation. The Radio 4 Today editor said she says it felt awkward to fly over to meet Her Highness Greta.
She didn't call her Highness.
No, but that's how she's being treated.
Right. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
She's the second coming or something.
We did discuss, this is the program editor, we did discuss that among ourselves, the idea of flying or not to fly. It felt awkward, but we did not have the time for trains or boats. Well, you make the time.
Greta made the time. Took her 2 weeks on a catamaran, where a couple flew from Australia to the States to take her on a catamaran.
But don't worry, though. Of course, Greta, being this messianic figure, did not chastise them like she chastised everybody else during that UN speech. The editor of the program, Greta is not actually judgmental towards individuals, accepting that other people will not all conform to her high standards and asking only for people to do what they can.
What are her high standards? I mean, I don't even know what her standards are. All I hear from her is barking and complaining and crazy talk. I mean, there's no set agenda, really.
And why would you expect one from a 16-year-old?
Who's got special needs?
Regardless,
Yeah, well,
this is insanity. And you have a bunch of putative professional journalists having a discussion about whether it's acceptable to fly from the UK to Sweden to interview Greta Thunberg. You should be asking yourself, why are we interviewing Greta Thunberg and continuing to elevate this young lady?
I thought she was
who
taking a
knows
break.
nothing. She is the perfect representative of our sentimental times. Fact-free moral indignation.
She's taken one science class, I read.
We've talked about this this week and over the holiday, there were a lot of catastrophic predictions made about what would happen to the world and to America, specifically by the year 2020.
Oh yeah, CNN's had some epic prediction that we'd run out of oil by 2020. I think I remember.
There's been many. All of them have turned out to be wildly wrong, including just the basic thesis of the climate alarmists, that the planet is warming to a level that will make it uninhabitable, the polar ice caps will melt, the world will end. Well, the prediction in 1990 was 3 to 6 degree Fahrenheit increase in global temperature. It turned out to be 1 degree, off by a factor of 3x to 6x. That's pretty big. That's not exactly 95% confident interval. That's pretty big margin of error in the world of science, but I know the debate's over and it's all settled. Here's another one. Department of Defense. Climate change will destroy us. This is a 2004 report. Secret DoD report predicting a climate catastrophe by 2020. Climate change over the next 20 years could result in a global catastrophe costing millions of lives in wars and natural disasters. A secret report suppressed by U.S. defense chiefs obtained by the Observer warns that major European cities will be sunk beneath rising seas as Britain is plunged into a Siberian climate by 2020. Nuclear conflict, mega droughts, famine, widespread rioting will erupt across the world. Some of that has happened, but has very little to do with climate. This was, of course, given uncritical coverage then, and it's being ignored today because, there's never a check on, well, what did we say was going to happen, and should we measure what we predicted versus what actually came to pass? No, of course not. But this is a long-running play by the left. This piece in Human Progress I mentioned. Dennis Avery, an agricultural economist in the first part of the 20th century, soil erosion has been threatening since man scratched the first seedbed with a stick. Population, deforestation, soil erosion from the main backdrops of the oldest known written story would lead us to a place where Western civilization couldn't survive. The mid-1800s, American naturalist and diplomat George Perkins, in his book Man and Nature, documented past fertility of the region stretching from Spain and North Africa to Mesopotamia and Armenia. He talked about the productiveness of the soil, and the response from the academic community was to say that soil erosion would be the end of Western civilization. I mean, fast forward 1939, The Rape of the Earth, a world survey of soil erosion. British writers said, as a result solely of human mismanagement, the soils upon which men have attempted to found new civilizations are disappearing, washed away by water and blown away by wind. The destruction of the Earth's thin living cover is proceeding at a rate and on a scale unparalleled in history, and when that thin cover, the soil, is gone, the fertile regions where it formerly lay will be uninhabitable deserts. 1948, ecologist William Vogt, Road to Survival, biggest selling environmental book until the publication of Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. Vogt argued that man had taken the bounty of the earth and made little or no return. where he had not lost water and soil, he had overgrazed and overcropped, and by the removal of animals and plants, had carried away important soil minerals, broken down the all-important soil structure, generally exhausted the environment. 1948. It's over. The same year, Vogue's friend, Henry Fairfield Osborn, published his book, Our Plundered Planet. In that book, he warned that environmental destruction would soon prove more deadly than the Second World War, 1948. And you go through post-war academics making the same apocalyptic predictions all the way up to the present. The authors of this piece point out, look, they're not interested in the evidence, they're not interested in science, and they're not interested in outcomes. At the root of eco-pessimism is always a deep-seated disillusionment with technological, economic, and social progress. So faith-like is the disillusionment, so ingrained is the misanthropy, that no amount of good news can dispel them. It's a religion, as we've said before. But a little bit of historical context tells you, probably to the lack of surprise of most of our listeners, that this is just history repeating itself over and over and over again. And because our press corps has so little institutional knowledge and there's so little consideration by the purveyors of this alarmism and their media amplifiers because they have an agenda they're pursuing.
Mm-hmm.
You have, version 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0 of the world is ending and human beings are the problem.
Are we going to get an email from Rick DeMaio?
Oh, we should call in.
312-642-5600 is always our turnkey DAPRO answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Anybody who wants to call in who wants to have an intelligent discussion on the science, because that's what we do here with scientists. Judith Curry, former head of atmospheric science at Georgia Institute of Technology. Patrick Moore, co-founder of Greenpeace. Bjorn Lomborg of the Copenhagen Consensus Center. Scientists and people who understand that the debate is never over in science. What else happened in 2019? You remember officials at Glacier National Park? They removed and altered signs and government literature which told visitors to the park that the glaciers were all expected to disappear by either 2020 or 2030. Yeah. And this is the false binary of you either believe that we're in end times and we have to deindustrialize our economy, or you believe in sort of the rapacious consumption of the environment and disregard for being good stewards of the gifts God has bestowed upon us. There's no middle ground for the left. And of course there's a middle ground. Of course we don't want to be neo-Luddites. Of course we want to progress. Of course we want to improve the condition for human beings on this planet. And by the way, that's what capitalism has done the world over. That's what technological innovation has done the world over. But we also want to be good stewards of the environment. Tom in Deer Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, great topic. You know what they didn't anticipate? Human ingenuity, capitalism, and technology. They were getting about 5 bushels per acre of corn back then. We're up to about 250. We did that through seed technology, GMO technology, chemical technology, and no-till farming to keep that soil in place, not down the river. So
yeah,
they're wrong.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tom. I mean, what's the stat? I should ask Tom. What's that? I think like every Illinois farmer, I think I remember this from the Farm Bureau, every Illinois farmer feeds 150 families. So yeah,
text my farmer friend.
So all of the dire predictions are based on static analysis, static economic analysis, and static analysis of human beings, because it's very difficult to predict the ingenuity of human beings, what somebody will think of next. Very difficult to predict that, which is why the models that are 30 and 50 and 100 years down the road are laughable, frankly. The models that are 10 and 15 and 20 years down the road have repeatedly been wildly wrong. And that matters. Bill in Downers Grove.
Morning, Dan and Amy.
One thing that I don't hear from any scientists or anybody else, but you do see it on the internet, and I remember it in Earth Sciences when I was a boy. The Earth's rotation and pull changes over the centuries. And right now, if you look on the internet and Google it through NOAA or anybody else, it'll show that the magnetic north is changing approximately 300 feet a year. Now, when the magnetic north changes, that means that the Earth's tilt is changing. When the Earth's tilt is changing, I'm only a salesman and I'm not a scientist, but if the Earth's tilt changes, the sun hits the Earth at a different angle. This is going to cause global change or global climate change. It just does, because it'll hit Earth, it'll hit land and sea at different directions and cause different heat patterns, oceanic temperature changes, and all the rest of it. It's common sense, which I know has been lost, but.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Appreciate it. Lee in Hammond.
Yeah, hi, guys. You know, I remember after the Rio conference in 1992 reading in UN publications that they were going to use the idea of man-made climate change to force austerity on Western countries because of our carbon footprint. The idea is that the United States population is like 5% of the world population,
right?
But we are consuming like 16% of the resources in order to sustain our lifestyle. So that was the actual target, and that had nothing to do with climate.
Thanks for the call, Lee.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you are a police officer or firefighter retiring this year, please listen carefully. This message is for you. You have unique retirement challenges unlike any other occupation, thus requiring more complex solutions. Marty Gahn has been the trusted financial advisor to police and fire retirees for over 20 years. As a certified financial planner and retired firefighter, Marty has the experience and expertise to help you maintain a quality lifestyle during this next chapter. Do you want straightforward answers to questions regarding your retirement picture? If so, contact Marty at Gahn Capital Management today. The decisions you make today will affect the quality of your retirement over the next 20 to 30 years. If you're a retired police or fire professional, contact Marty today to schedule a complimentary consultation. Call 773-467-0000 or visit retirementfortheblue.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I just want to tell you that I can't believe what this has done, and I've only been taking it for, a couple of months? I don't know. I got to the point where I was very discouraged, and my energy was down, and I tell you, my wife says this stuff is wonderful. I feel so much better. My attitude is different. My energy is good, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
In 2019, Illinois became the abortion capital of the Midwest. But what are you going to do about it? Join thousands at the largest pro-life event in the Midwest, Saturday, January 11th at the March for Life Chicago. Hear from keynote speaker and abortion survivor Claire Caldwell, the Chicago Bears' Pat McCaskey, Cardinal Supich, and many other pro-life leaders. Check out new and expanded events all day, including the convention at the Congress Plaza Hotel, a youth rally, the March for Life rally and March at Daly Plaza, a dinner banquet, even swing dancing into the night. Purchase your tickets to the banquet and cocktail hour, sign up for a free fast pass to the convention, and find out more at marchforlifechicago.org. The 2020 March for Life Chicago theme is Life Empowers. Pro-life is pro-woman. The voiceless need a voice. March for babies, march for women, march for life. Visit marchforlifechicago.org today. That's marchforlifechicago.org.
Is this your situation? Cellular or data services are bad inside your building or vehicle? People notice. People complain.
This is Kelly Piles. My company is PC Net Services. We can fix that annoying problem. Resolving this is not as complicated or as expensive as you might think, but it does make a difference. I have worked with the largest cellular providers in the nation. We could improve your cellular and data signal inside your building with all major carriers. No more dropped calls, no more complaints. First responders, government agencies, and business owners have used us to get a better signal inside their building. We can do the same for you. PC Net Services, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business connecting you to the world.
Get better cell service in your building, no matter which carrier. For a free analysis, call PC Net Services, 815-545-4439. 815-545-4439.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to start the new year. Get your best night's sleep ever with a MyPillow and a set of those new Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow. And you can still receive your second set of sheets for free. 2 for 1. Plus, you'll get free shipping. And if you add anything else to your order, like MyPillows, mattress toppers, the new MyPillow towels, anything, those items will ship free too. And you can still get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but you have to use the promo code Amy. You know, I just started sleeping with brand new Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping so much better. Plus, the new MyPillow towels are extremely soft and absorbent. And all products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special box and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1 plus free shipping on your entire order. That's MyPillow.com. Click the radio specials box and enter promo code Amy. Or call 800-489-0201. 800-489-0201. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy.
A business needs to be built on a great foundation, one with the framework of integrity and tradition. Chapel Design Build delivers just that, providing design build and general contracting services using Butler Steel Building Systems. Their projects dot the landscape from O'Hare to DeKalb. You see their work in office and warehouse additions, recreational facilities, large-scale distribution centers, and manufacturing plants all over northern Illinois. Partnering with Butler Steel Buildings, Chapel Design Build has developed an extensive subcontractor base and valuable market knowledge to get your quality-built project completed on time and on budget, ensuring your project is a success for your business and one that you will be proud of for years to come. The goal is to build lasting relationships with their clients using buildings that last from Butler. Get started on your next building project built with Butler Steel. Visit chapeldb.com. That's Chapel D as in design, B as in build.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just because it's getting cold outside doesn't mean you can't have fun. Look at Tulsi Gabbard in New Hampshire.
Yeah, she surfs up, man.
But he just told me this morning. I had no idea. This community here is just so cool in hooking us up with the gear and the boards, and there is absolutely no better way to start the day and to start the year.
The new kind of retail politics.
Exactly. Highly recommend it. If we could go surfing every day and bring everybody out, that'd be awesome.
No, I love that wetsuit, huh? Surf's up, baby. First presidential candidate to ever go surfing in New Hampshire.
I think the entire field should surf together with Gabby. I'd like to see
Bernie
them
would
all.
last 1 second.
I'd like to see them all in wetsuits.
Ew.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, the old doddering fools. Come on, let's eat our Jell-O and we can go on the surfboard.
That's kind of wild,
Let's go,
though.
Bernie.
I would never think of like a beach surf vacation, particularly in January in New Hampshire. But
Well, if you wear the white wetsuit, people surf all year long. They do.
yeah, well, all right. If I were Tulsi, I'd be like back in Hawaii. But I guess she's running for president, and
awesome.
That doesn't help her much.
Very cool. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to scholar Amity Shlaes. You remember she wrote the bestseller The Forgotten Man, New History of the Great Depression, which to some extent I think was a precursor 10 years in advance of Trump's presidency. She's got a new book out providing the proper historical context of the Great Society. We'll talk to her at 8:08.
And South Bend, Indiana has a new mayor. Now let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A man dead after a violent confrontation with Chicago police. We'll have that story coming up. WIND. Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. The U.S. stopped an imminent threat.
I'm Dave Anthony. That's what the Secretary of State says after the airstrike in Iraq that took out a top general from Iran.
We don't seek war with Iran, but we at the same time are not going to stand by and watch the Iranians escalate and continue to put American lives at risk.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live in Washington.
Dave, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the Trump administration relied on information from the intelligence community as it moved forward with the strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
We will continue to take actions to reduce risk and to protect Americans. President Trump's been very clear about that, and nothing is different today than it was yesterday with respect to that.
Secretary Pompeo said the Soleimani was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of U.S. citizens and that the attack was wholly lawful. The State Department is warning Americans in Iraq to leave immediately. Dave?
Now, Rachel, Iran's president tweeted in reaction they will get revenge for this heinous crime. There's video of Iranians in the streets mourning General Soleimani's death.
From now on, Israel should not have security. The U.S. should not have security in the world.
Now, moments ago, President Trump tweeted they're not nearly as sad in Iran as leaders would let you believe. The president wrote that the general was hated and feared within the country of Iran. Now, Democrats have been critical.
This was very clearly an act of war by this president without any kind of authorization or declaration of war from Congress, clearly violating the Constitution.
Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard also just told Fox it undermines our national security. Her fellow Democratic candidates for president also opposed the airstrike. Joe Biden says the president threw a dynamite stick into a tinderbox. Elizabeth Warren calls it reckless and increases the likelihood of more deaths in the Middle East. And there's been reaction on Wall Street. Dow futures down about 250 points. Oil prices are spiking up over 3%. America's listening to Fox News.
Cloudy skies, 35 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead after a violent confrontation with Chicago police on the northwest side. Authorities say the encounter began yesterday in the 6,000 block of West Wellington when officers tried to pull over a vehicle being driven by a man identified as Mariano Ocone Jr. Police chased down Ocone after he fled the car and saw he was armed with a handgun. Shots were fired and Ocone died. Now, an initial examination by the Cook County Medical Examiner found the suspect suffered what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, along with an additional gunshot wound to the upper body, likely fired by police. For now, body cam video, according to police, backs up their version of the altercation. Bond is set at $3 million for an optometrist accused of killing his girlfriend in Schaumburg in November. Anthony Prade appeared in Cook County Court yesterday on first-degree murder charges. Two young brothers are dead following an attempted murder-suicide involving their mother. Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. Police officials say Aaliyah Newell and her 7-month-old, Amir, were found on the ground outside of Water's Edge Apartments. Officers went to the 11th floor, discovered the mother's grandfather with cuts on his face and her 2-year-old son unresponsive in a bathtub. Chicago sports found the Jazz over the Bulls 102-98 at the UC last night. Canucks beat the Blackhawks 7-5 in Vancouver. Big Ten hoops, number 16 Michigan State, a 76-56 win over Illinois and East Lansing. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are sharply lower and oil prices are rising after the U.S. attack that killed Iran's top general. Iran previously has threatened the supply of oil that travels from the Persian Gulf to the rest of the world. The major stock averages closed at records yesterday. This morning, Dow futures have been down nearly 400 points. Broker Amid Malik says investors are concerned about what happens next.
I didn't see anything that could slow down this equity market except something geopolitical or with the election.
Former Nissan CEO Carlos Ghosn might be facing new problems in Lebanon. He fled from Japan, where he was charged with financial misconduct, but now that he's in Lebanon, a group of lawyers has filed a legal complaint about him because he was doing business with Israel as the chairman of Nissan and Renault. Lebanese citizens are prohibited from interacting with Israel. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
It's 8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Celebrate the new year with a change. Stamp your passport to paradise. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Huatuco, Mexico. You'll stay at the Secrets Huatuco Resort and Spa from March 28th through April 4th. It's a beautiful adults-only unlimited luxury resort located on Conejos Bay. Don't get left out in the cold this year. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport. Presented by Joe Cotton Ford.
Hi, this is Dan Frio with the Mortgage Update. Is the lack of having enough money in the bank holding you back from buying a home? The state of Illinois is helping first-time home buyers with this issue with a program you can only get through a limited number of lenders that's hand-picked by the state, and I'm one of those preferred lenders. This program is a grant up to $10,000 to help you with your down payment and also cover closing costs. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage and get on the path to buying your own home. Since this is a grant program, funding can run out at any time, so call now and reach out to me personally. Just pick up the phone and call 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN to reach me personally, or visit me on the web at windmortgage.com. That's windmortgage.com.
Parkside Lending, LLC is an Illinois residential mortgage licensee and an equal housing lender. NMLS 176162.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
8:07 AM 560 Traffic Center time, and Jim Telemonte.
On Chicago's southwest side, 31st Street is closed between Sacramento and California due to a crash. Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, southbound 94, traffic's heavy. Highway 165 to Highway ML, crash blocking two right lanes. The Edens is cleared. No delays to report on the Kennedy. About Eisenhower, it's heavy from California at Bird Circle. 33 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound Fond at 29. Inbound Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound clear, 34 minutes. Inbound Ryan, after a crash at 59th, it's heavy in the locals. 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 15. The other expressways and tollways are looking good. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center.
Today, mostly cloudy with a high at 38. Clouds and a bit of snow late tonight. Little or no accumulation, low 27. A few flurries tomorrow morning, otherwise a cloudy day, high 34. Sunny and breezy on Sunday, the high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
35 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I'm reading from a New York Times book review of Amity Shlaes' latest offering, Great Society, A New History. And so she looks at all the Great Society welfare state programs of the Johnson era forward. The reviewer, Benjamin Applebaum, concludes his review of Amity's book, saying, half a century later, after the Great Society, in the midst of a revival of interest in ideas like Daniel Patrick Moynihan's basic income proposal, readers may find themselves wondering whether the nation's problem is really too much government or perhaps not enough. It's funny, this book review suggests that Amity's arguments are, sort of prosaic in some respects, and yet isn't this reviewer's argument, well, his insinuation, the most prosaic thing of all? What is the lament of the government commissars when a government program fails, an agency fails? What is the constant lament? You can set your watch by it. The only problem, not big enough. I mean, we are the epicenter of that. You know what the problem with this anti-poverty program is? This rent-seeking gambit is?
It's not big enough.
Not big enough. It's always, if it was just a little bit bigger, then it would all be synchronized and work just as envisioned in our utopian white papers. Thank you, Elizabeth Warren. For more on this, let her respond to this book review in part and lay out the arguments that she makes in her latest book, Great Society, New History. We're pleased to be joined by Amity Shlaes, who chairs the board of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation, the winner of the Hayek Prize, named after my dog, and again, best-selling author. Her previous book, which was great. If you haven't read it, go back and read this, The Forgotten Man, A New History of the Great Depression. Amity, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Amity, are you there?
Do we have Amity?
Hello, Amity.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Hello.
there we go.
I'm sorry.
That's
sorry,
all right.
guys.
That's all right.
Yes. Good morning. I'm glad to be there.
Good morning. So what of this question, rhetorical though it is, by the New York Times book reviewer of your book, that the nation's problems half a century after the Great Society, too much government or not enough?
Well, the evidence from the 1960s suggests that there's too much government because the 60s were an enormous expansion of government, including, by the way, in Chicago. Chicago's in the book. And the results sought by the dreamers were not realized. It was very sad. So that's the answer. You were very polite. That review, I believe, calls my book deeply flawed. So I thought it was kind of you, Dan and Amy, not to mention that. But the point being, this is a very contentious subject, especially now, and it's especially controversial to argue for restraining government.
And you mentioned in your book, or you said a mention about Chicago being mentioned in your book. What references did you make?
Oh, there's a lot of Chicago. I grew up on the South Side, and I was raised to believe in Hyde Park that Mayor Daley was, mainly corrupt. And Richard J. Daley comes off more sympathetically on the record than I ever would have imagined. And what's kind of hilarious are his power struggles with Washington. Mayor Daley supported Democrats, and Mayor Daley believed he got big Democratic presidents elected, famously or infamously with John Kennedy, and then, of course, also with Lyndon Johnson in 1964. So he heard they were doing some stuff about poverty, and he sent all his ideas about poverty, his plans for his administration, to Washington in a big box and said, I need money for these plans, please provide it. And instead, the Johnson administration came up with its own poverty offices and went by him and worked with gangs, particularly the Blackstone Rangers, in ways Mayor Daley viewed probably accurately as counterproductive. And he got furious at Washington, and it's very interesting to watch the back and forth. This was also replicated in other cities. That is, the Great Society administration of Lyndon Johnson did not work with cities. It worked around them and often undermined them.
The review in the New York Times of your book, the reviewer also criticizes it in this way. While the book is well written, the evidence you use to prove up your thesis is selective. You skip over Medicare and Medicaid in terms of the war on poverty programs and focus in on lesser initiatives like public housing projects. And the author suggests, of course, you're skipping over Medicare and Medicaid because they're very popular and they've worked so well.
Now, that's interesting. I'll just take the other programs first. The goal of the Great Society was to cure poverty. They used the verb to cure. They didn't say make poverty feel better. They didn't say provide a palliative. The Great Society did not cure poverty. Indeed, poverty reduction slowed down after a time. Then we're looking into the 70s, now in the 80s. Medicare and Medicaid are outside the scope of the book, the effects of Medicare and Medicaid, because the book ends in 1971. The real damage of Medicare and Medicaid, as much as we love them, and we often do, is that they enslave our children to higher taxes than we ever will have paid in our lifetime because of the obligations they've generated and will generate. So I like to be able to go to the doctor and get a fixed price, but I do want my grandchild to be able to start a business. And that is the trade-off, Medicare especially. The funds running out well before Social Security. So that's a long-term effect. It was a little stretchy of Benjamin to blame me for something that's absolutely outside the book, but you could argue Medicare and Medicaid are just as bad as welfare in terms of their effect on the United States long term.
Well, and this is an important point because both parties have essentially taken a hands-off approach to all the welfare state entitlements, and Medicare is at the top of the list because it's hard to argue an abstraction, but it's also hard to defend the fact that most Medicare recipients, or the median Medicare recipient will get $3 in health care services for every dollar they paid into the system. So it's a bit of a reverse Robin Hood, as you mentioned, on future generations, and that's not something that should be applauded, much like Social Security, going back to the New Deal, isn't something that should be applauded when you can get a much better market rate of return. It'd be difficult to get a worse market rate of return than the 1% that people get back from their Social Security contributions. So, these government gambits, people get used to the entitlement, but if you look at the underlying math, it's a lot less attractive.
Oh, yes. And, from time to time, politicians, even politicians from Illinois, I'm thinking here of Dan Rostenkowski,
sure,
have worked on healthcare to try and get it more affordable and been just shouted out of the room and the project because of complaints. I'm recalling, right, Illinois?
Yeah, being chased at chased from a gas station by seniors. I remember, yeah.
For calling for, I think, catastrophic coverage, but the listeners will know better. Dan was right to try to curtail the growth and costs of Medicare, so that's interesting. So that's where we are. What's interesting to me is also, and to you, I know, the folly wasn't always so evident to the people at the time. Lyndon Johnson, out of the goodness of his heart, wanted to give old people health care. At that time, Lyndon Johnson expected to live fewer than 10 years after he left office. He expected to die in his 60s. He did. And so did a lot of other people. They never expected the life expectancy that we have currently. So that's part of the story. You make a promise. It sounds reasonable by your arithmetic, your best effort, best intentions in the world, but you cause an effect you never could have dreamed of. That's throughout the Great Society. That's why it's worth studying.
And the chapter that you do devote to public housing projects, of course, we know now those human warehouses were devastating, particularly to minority families who lived at Cabrini Green and the Robert Taylor homes and the other public housing projects around the country. That was a terrible public policy that now has metastasized in real time to quote-unquote affordable housing that's pushed by the left, which is exacerbating the divide in cities that have most aggressively pursued quote-unquote affordable housing projects, like in Los Angeles.
Yes, architecture is part of this, and I'll be even more divisive when I say architecture is part of this. Modern architecture, particularly the style brutalism, which is popular, think of the HUD building in Washington, or Pruitt-Igoe and international style roughly, alienates people. And then being stacked like hamsters on top of each other alienates them, particularly when welfare policy kicks out the dad, which is what was the policy for so many years. So we created terrible institutions that hurt the Black community again, displaced them once more by moving them into these houses, hurt everyone who lived in them. That was interesting too. to watch that. What concerns me is just as socialism is becoming popular again, so is modern brutalist architecture. Brutalist architecture is beautiful. I'm talking about big concrete slabs that kind of scare you and look magnificent, like fortresses. It's kind of intellectually interesting. Some people like the grandeur of it, but people become very sad when they live in big concrete slabs. There's no way around it. People like doors and having a geranium and little steps up to their house. And so along with the new craze for socialism comes a new craze for alienating architecture.
I, on the other hand, live a Spartan existence.
So you like that
Just
idea.
me and my dog. No geraniums.
Oh, by the way, his dog's name is Hayek.
Yes.
So by winning the Hayek Prize, you get to keep Hayek for a week.
Yeah, that's part
Congratulations.
of your That's part of your
We'll
prize
bring a bag of
package.
dog food for you.
Can I say who Hayek was? He was a great free market
Yes.
economist, vaguely at the University of Chicago, loved by some economists there, such as Frank Knight, not loved by some others. And he wrote a book called Road to Serfdom about how incremental changes and expansions in government, the kind Dan and Amy were talking about before in my books about, it seem safe because they're small and incremental, but add up and take us on a road to economic serfdom.
Yes, and the fatal conceit of the central planners is also relevant to this discussion, and particularly Chicago and Illinois. I want to ask you about something that Peggy Noonan wrote, though, because I think she's sort of right neighborhood, wrong address. She's talking about the Democratic primary field, and that they're flailing. They don't see they're flailing. They lurch too far left too quickly. She writes that if there's a grinding war and an economic downturn, people will want change, and the out party has a good shot. If the economic downturn is severe, they'll consider deep structural change, even radical change such as socialism. It isn't true that America will never go socialist. Maybe it will, but not under current conditions, full employment and rising wages. I want to believe that she's right, but I see us having very good economic conditions at present, and yet socialism, as you were just mentioning, being au courant among at least half the electorate.
Yes, and I'm thinking back to whatever I said or you said in 2008, but I do think we trashed ourselves in 2008. The administration trashed ourselves by rescuing big banks in a kind of socialist way, by the way. Oh, this bank needs some help. Oh, we got to work this out. Oh, we don't want to help who? Lehman, because we don't like Lehman, but we like Goldman because some of us, and it was very pick and choosy, very, very random, hard on investors, and the message came loud and clear. We rescue during downturns. So how can you not provide families with some kind of break in a recession if you're providing Goldman Sachs with one? There are a couple of people in Chicago who have been saying that loudly, and I'm glad for it because you don't hear it too often in New York, which is the center, the financial capital. I think we hurt the argument for free markets with government behavior in 2008, auto industries after that. Actually, bailouts don't work for anyone. It's another way of putting it, as we say, picking losers, helping. When a company is weak, if you help it, you make the employees there feel better for a short time, but you don't help the economy generally.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. She is Amity Shlaes, chairs the board of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation, winner of the Hayek Prize, best-selling author of The Forgotten Man, A New History of the Great Depression, and her new book, Great Society, A New History. Amity, thanks for joining us, and best of luck with the book.
Well, honored to be on. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I love the products. I haven't had a cold since I've started. My grandkids get sick all the time, and I don't catch what they have. I'm going to be 68 tomorrow, and I'm in great shape, and I'm very grateful. I know the balance of nature, the simplicity of it and the purity of it has just been a tremendous blessing for me.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. 751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350350. That's LIKE to 350350 to schedule your free consultation today.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Christmas, a beautiful time of the year to create memories with your family and friends. So why not start a new holiday family tradition with a ride to Gobert's Pumpkin Patch in Pingree Grove? Experience the wonder of their annual Christmas light show. From the cozy comfort of your vehicle, you'll drive through a path featuring over 2 million dazzling LED lights choreographed to your favorite holiday tunes. Tickets are available at the entrance or purchase in advance at GobertsPumpkinPatch.com. Entry fee is $5 per person or a max of $20 per car. Special rates are available for oversized vehicles. Open 6 nights a week, closed on Mondays. Be sure to visit GobertsPumpkinPatch.com for hours and details. Look for the glow of the lights off I-90 and Route 47. Follow Gobert's Pumpkin Patch on Facebook for up-to-date information and events. And if Santa brings you an engagement ring, let Gobert's help arrange a magical wedding experience right on the farm. From the Gobert's family to your family, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we got to get to Amy's retrospective on Ron Rivera. But first, Bob on the Tri-State. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. I just thought I'd make it twice in 1 week. I think you were hosting the Mike Gallagher show when the same author ended the interview with such an erudite host. So I just wanted to have those words ring again in your ear. And Amy, you're no slouch. You guys are great.
All right, thanks for the call, Bob. You're no slouch is one of those backhanded compliments you've heard so much about. Yeah. All right.
And you look pretty over there, too. You, whatever your name is.
Tell us about former Carolina Panthers coach Ron Rivera.
Former Chicago Bear, and I just learned first Puerto Rican to ever win a Super Bowl. Who keeps stats like that? But anyway, now he's the new head coach of the Washington Redskins and the owner,
The Redskins?
Yeah. Well, Daniel Snyder. Oh, boy. Was this a joke or an awkward mistake? Listen carefully. Remember, it's the Redskins.
Good afternoon. First off, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
It's January 2nd. You mean Happy New Year, not Happy Thanksgiving, because what could have happened at Thanksgiving? The Pilgrims could have eaten the Indians.
Yeah.
Very racially insensitive.
Right, that was a racial slur by Dan Snyder. I'm not a big Dan Snyder fan, but I think that's a bit of a reach.
And then Ron Rivera, he was, excited. This is a new gig for him. He didn't want to have a lot of downtime between the Panthers and his next gig. And he was trying to get out a jersey, because normally when you're the head coach, they make a jersey with your name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait, where's my jersey?
And so I say for the very first time, okay, from the very first, where'd you guys hide it? All right, I guess there is no jersey. There's supposed to be a jersey up here. But you know, as they say, Hail to the Redskins. Let's roll, man. Let's go. Come on.
And he couldn't find the jersey. He's like, where's the jersey? This thing's on. And then
reminds me of Janine Pirro's announcement speech for U.S. Senate where she got the pages numbered wrong. And, yeah.
So he did, at least, luckily, he had a helmet there.
She got a Fox News show out of it, though.
Yeah, well, he's
remarkably.
got the head coaching position, so hopefully he'll do well. He's supposedly he's going to have more control over the team. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a good organization because of Dan Snyder, but I wish Ron Rivera well. I think he did a good job at Carolina. He's like,
he's a great linebacker for the Bears.
He was, and it's one of those things too where I love when this happens. And this happens a lot of industry, including ours. But it's like he's a 3-time Coach of the Year. He won a Super Bowl, and then last year he forgot how to coach. I mean, he can't coach in the NFL anymore. Well, what happened? Is he the same guy he was the previous decade?
Just had a bump in the road.
I understand. Everybody runs their course.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Did Trump cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war, Mark Antony, at 8:38?
But now let's head straight into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Skies are cloudy, 36 degrees, and for the moment our eyes are on Paris, where a man wearing a suicide vest is dead after stabbing at least 3, perhaps as many as 6, in a Paris suburb. Witnesses claim police shot and killed the suspect after stabbing the people in a public park. President Trump is justifying his decision to launch a missile strike that claimed the life of Iran's top general. In a tweet this morning, the president saying Qasem Soleimani killed or badly wounded thousands of Americans, and the general was plotting to kill many more. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Fox News this morning.
What was sitting before us was his travels throughout the region and his efforts to make a significant strike against Americans. There would have been many Muslims killed as well, Iraqis, people in other countries as well.
The president adding the general should have been taken out years ago. Asian governments are sounding the alarm after Chinese health officials report 44 cases of a viral pneumonia of an unknown origin. Some are saying they are concerned the flu-like virus is linked to the highly contagious SARS virus that caused hundreds of deaths 17 years ago. A California-based company says it has developed a marijuana breath analyzer. It expects to hit the market by the middle of this year. The company's founder says the device will be able to detect the tiniest amounts of THC that has been ingested in the past 2 to 3 hours. Here in Chicago, a man is dead following a violent confrontation with Chicago police on the northwest side. Authorities say that encounter began yesterday in the 6000 block of West Wellington Avenue. A 17-year-old girl is fighting for her life following a shooting in East Chicago, Indiana. The girl remains hospitalized in critical condition. No arrests have been made. A Northwest Indiana judge has sentenced a man to the maximum 65 years in prison for fatally stabbing a female bartender at a tavern where he worked as a bouncer. 53-year-old Christopher Dillard of Hobart learned his punishment after a Porter County jury in November found him guilty of murder in the slaying of 23-year-old Nicole Gland. Chicago sports. White Sox sign Luis Robert to a 6-year, $50 million contract. That cements Robert as the Sox center fielder on opening day in 2020. Jazz beat the Bulls, Canucks over the Blackhawks, and the Fighting Illini in Big Ten hoops fall to number 16, Michigan State. The news service of Staples. Staples has the organizational supplies you need for the new year. Planners, folders, calendars, all the great prices this week. 2020 desk pad calendars are just $3.99 each. Save on all of your office essentials at Staples, where there's a whole lot more in store. In-store only. Offer ends 1/4/20. Staples. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is all in.
I am one of the few who's never wavered in my support of Donald Trump. It's real simple. When you know that the alternative to Donald Trump is unthinkable in terms of our nation's economy, our military, our sovereignty, our borders, this is an easy call. This hasn't been hard for me.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season.
We're talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program.
We've partnered with Food for the Poor to feed thousands of families fleeing from the socialist crisis in Venezuela. These families are now in Colombia and are desperate. Food for the Poor is working with local partners at feeding sites to make sure these families survive.
And your business can be a part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. When you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
That's the best advertising deal in all of Chicago. To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Netkowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951. One more time, the number 847-472-8951. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of You Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of You Store It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
8:36 in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
In Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, a crash on southbound 94 at Highway ML has shifted to the shoulder. It had been blocking 2 lanes. You'll find some residual congestion. Southwest side of Chicago, 31st is closed. Sacramento and California due to a crash. Oak Brook, there's a collision. 35th Cass. Edens is fine. Inbound Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, 20, but there's a collision at Armitage on the right side. About Eisenhower, it's about a 5-minute delay. California Circle. Outbound, it's clear. Inbound Stevenson, 36 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 5 to 34. Bryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. The other expressways and tollways look great. No problems to report in Northwest Indiana. And that's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, we're seeing clouds and 38 today. Plenty of snow overnight. Little or no accumulation, just snow sticking around through the evening hours. Low 27 and flurries in the morning. A high of 34. 36 right now. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Did Trump make the right call in ordering the strike on Iranian terrorist General Soleimani last night? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Some context is important here because the criticism of Trump coming from the left suggesting this was sort of some rash decision.
Yeah, he needed approval of Congress or didn't talk to Pelosi and Schumer, and they should have been in on it.
Whether they're in on it or not, that this was rash, that this was not, this was a knee-jerk reaction rather than a thoughtful one. That's belied when you just understand what's happened just in the last couple of months. Brian Hook, who's a special representative for Iran and a special assistant to Secretary of State Pompeo, before yesterday's strike was ordered, but after the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, and after that attack had been quelled, describing the attack.
Well, our troops are in Iraq at the invitation of the Iraqi government, and the Iraqi government is responsible for the safety and security of those troops. The base where our forces are stationed, that was attacked about 11 or 12 times in just 2 months. And so we took the measures, the president ordered the necessary measures to protect our troops. We then had terrorists protesting outside of our embassy in Baghdad. This is orchestrated by the Iranian regime. These are the kinds of tactics that they use. 40 years ago, they stormed our embassy. And then here we are 40 years later, and they're directing these terrorist groups to then attack our embassy. So the president took very decisive action and put in place the necessary force protections and for our people, our diplomats, and our embassy. And it was the right thing to do, and today the situation is much better.
And remember, in addition to what Mr. Hook was describing, you have the Iranian missile rocket attack that killed an American contractor, wounded 4 troops. So this was months and months of run-up to this point, and the opportunity to preempt what was believed to be a big terrorist operation that Soleimani was planning. And so that's what the president did.
And U.S. lawmakers pretty much agree that Soleimani's death was warranted, but key Democratic leaders are expressing deep concern how the airstrikes were handled and publicized. Joe Biden saying that President Trump has, quote, tossed a stick of dynamite into a tinderbox that could lead to a devastating new conflict in the Middle East.
And as Brett Baer reminded us when we talked to him earlier in the show, Joe Biden is the person former CIA Director Bob Gates suggested has not been right about any foreign policy matter ever. And he continues with his pristine record. Mike Pompeo on CNN this morning addressing last night's strike.
We've watched these protests over the last weeks. They weren't burning American flags. They were demanding that Iraqi political leadership stop their kleptocracy, stop their political shenanigans. And Qasem Soleimani was at the center of that. He was driving bad outcomes for the Iraqi people. He was causing many Muslims in the region to be killed. I saw last night there was dancing in the streets in parts of Iraq. We have every expectation that people not only in Iraq but in Iran will view the American action last night as giving them freedom to have the opportunity for success and prosperity for their nations. And while the political leadership may not want that, the people in these nations will demand it.
Well, not so, said CNN at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock this morning. Their reporter on the ground in Baghdad said people are incensed by this.
This is such a stunning turn of events to have taken place that really, I think a lot of people are struggling to grapple with it. The Iraqi government is absolutely incensed to a certain degree, viewing this as a direct aggression against them, against Iraq, because it wasn't just the death of Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Quds Force. You also had the number 2 within the Popular Mobilization Forces. That is a branch of the Iraqi security forces who was also killed.
But I don't know if I believe them.
CNN, we're very sorry for your loss. Jim in Willowbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey guys, good morning. Like I was telling your screener, I was one of the first Marines ever on the ground in Oman back in 1980 when they opened the embassy over there, and we used to sit and watch the ever-exalted Ayatollah Khomeini sit there and complain that the Omanis were allowing U.S. Marines on the ground. He was saying there was a Marine Corps battalion landing team ready to attack Iran. I had 6 Marines working for me. The youngest one was 18. I was the oldest at 22.
Wow.
There were 6 of us, and they knew we were there. It was like the minute you hit the ground, they know what's going on. Now, in my mind, for the Iraqis, why was this guy, a known terrorist leader, even in Iraq?
I know. And
Well,
it was
this
a
is-
drone strike near the airport that took him out.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Well, I want to get back to the Carter era and the Iranian terrorists who stormed the U.S. Embassy and took it over in November of '79, U.S. Embassy in Tehran. But to your point about Iraq and the challenge in Iraq right now, Secretary of Defense Mike Esper addressed that in advance of last night's strike.
I think the party that is weakening the Iraqi government and the Iraqi country is Iran. They are exerting their influence throughout that country through these Shia militia groups, through politicians that they control in one way, shape, or form. And so that's why I see that you see over the past few months, thousands of Iraqis, normal Iraqis, are in the streets protesting both corruption and Iranian influence in their country. In fact, as I recall, they torched the consulate in one of their provinces, an Iranian consulate, because they want Iran out of their country.
So there's protests going on inside Iraq because of complicity of Iraq public officials with Iran, in addition to the Iranian formal presence. And this is what's undermining the prospect for a stable Iraq that is not a proxy state for Iran. This is our strategic interest in the region, at least significantly. And just going back without, doing a full Ben Affleck Argo reenactment, going back to 79, people focusing on Trump's immediate response so that there's no Benghazi on his watch,
right,
much to the chagrin of the left media, shockingly, really. The people like Joy Reid at MSNBC rooting for Baghdad to be Trump's Benghazi, remarkable. But he also learned from the operation to try to rescue the hostages. I mean, there are more than 4 dozen American hostages that were held for well over a year in 1979. The mission that Jimmy Carter authorized was a spectacular failure.
Yep.
And so it's learning the lessons of the siege on the embassy in Tehran in 79, as well as the siege on the U.S. Embassy in Benghazi back in 2012. Both lessons learned. And so, the arguments that the Democrats are making, I mean, again, they have to be critical of Trump because that is their position. It doesn't matter what Trump does. There's going to be criticism, and they're not bounded by any sort of intellectual consistency. On the one hand, Trump is just a brash-talking tweeter who isn't to be taken seriously. He's a live wire. On the other hand, he's a warmonger, who's got an itchy trigger finger. Well, of course, neither one of those things is true. And the incident, once you look at it in context, really undermines that contention.
And remember what he said on New Year's Eve. He doesn't want another war.
I don't think that would be a good idea for Iran. It wouldn't last very long. Do I want to? No. I want to have peace. I like peace. And Iran should want peace more than anybody.
But it's peace through strength, to borrow a Reagan-era phrase. It's not peace through appeasement. It's not peace in our time, Neville Chamberlain Obama, and all the Obama-era flacks that are being critical and borderline despondent over Trump taking a hard line against the lead state sponsor of terror in the world. Again, just remarkable. It's also remarkable that one of the individuals leading the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Hadi al-Amiri, was in the White House in 2011, part of a contingent from Iraq, including its prime minister at the time, Nouri al-Maliki, that met with President Obama.
Yeah, he invited them to the White House.
David and McCook.
Happy Friday, guys. Instead of Obama poo-pooing everything, Trump made a statement here, don't F with the United States.
Right. Thanks for the call, David. Right. The Ayatollah saying you can't do anything, tweeting after the siege on the embassy in Baghdad.
Yeah, we can.
Apparently he was incorrect. Joe in Villa Park.
Oh, yeah. People seem to forget that when they took out our drone, Trump canceled the strike that would have killed people because he didn't think it was proportional to what they had done.
Yeah, that's right.
So this was a very measured response, and people forget that.
That's a good point. Thanks for that, Joe.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to start the new year. Get your best night's sleep ever with a MyPillow and a set of those new Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow. And you can still receive your second set of sheets for free. 2 for $1. Plus, you'll get free shipping, and if you add anything else to your order, like MyPillows, mattress toppers, the new MyPillow towels, anything, those items will ship free too. And you can still get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but you have to use the promo code Amy. You know, I just started sleeping with brand new Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping so much better. Plus, the new MyPillow towels are extremely soft and absorbent. And all products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special box and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1 plus free shipping on your entire order. That's MyPillow.com. Click the radio specials box and enter promo code Amy. Or call 800-489-0201, 800-489-0201. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
This is better than I expected. You guys, your customer service and everything, you guys are great. Yeah, you're the best company out there. And the commercials, you know, they talk about it, but a lot of times it's like, I don't know if it really gives it true justice of what this really is. People need to know this is maybe the most amazing product I've ever tried. So you can just feel the energy. It's so pure. It tastes so good. I'm just blown away by it. It's amazing.
See how getting a variety of over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can make a difference for you this year. To help you start your New Year's resolutions right, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. This New Year's special won't last, so call in now. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
If you are a police officer or firefighter retiring this year, please listen carefully. This message is for you. You have unique retirement challenges unlike any other occupation, thus requiring more complex solutions. Marty Gahn has been the trusted financial advisor to police and fire retirees for over 20 years. As a certified financial planner and retired firefighter, Marty has the experience and expertise to help you maintain a quality lifestyle during this next chapter. Do you want straightforward answers to questions regarding your retirement picture? If so, contact Marty at Gahn Capital Management today. The decisions you make today will affect the quality of your retirement over the next 20 to 30 years. If you're a retired police or fire professional, contact Marty today to schedule a complimentary consultation. Call 773-467-0000 or visit retirementfortheblue.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Don't let your home be invaded this season with rats and mice. Keep them away the most humane way with Plug-in Pest Free, 100% chemical free, totally safe for your family and pets, and environmentally friendly. G'day. I'm Scott from Plug-in Pest Free, the electromagnetic pest control device that has been scientifically tested and consumer proven since 1995. Now that's fair income. With a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 2-year manufacturer's warranty, what have you got to lose? Stop inviting unwanted rodents and pests in with baits. Say goodbye to traps and start saving money today with Plug-in Pest Free. Order yours now at gopestfree.com and save 20% with promo code SAVE20. That's gopestfree.com, promo code SAVE20. Are you ready to start saving money? Gopestfree.com, promo code SAVE20. Don't spray and regret, plug in and forget.
It's a real-world reality. Gunshots. Sometimes the results are tragic. Now, there's gunshot detection technology and active shooter countermeasure technology available right now. And it was developed for the U.S. government.
Hey, this is Mike Walsh. My company is Walsh Wireless. We are the Chicagoland dealer for gunshot detection technology. This gunshot detection system is nothing short of amazing, and it is highly effective. Who uses it? Government, healthcare, education, houses of worship, entertainment, and a lot more. There are no false positives, and that's good. The system can identify the caliber of the gun, so law enforcement can be prepared. This gunshot detection system can also work with your current security system to do a lockdown, instant notification, and more. Identify the gunshot and cut down response time. You need this gunshot detection technology from Walsh Wireless. Cost-effective solution to counter a real-world reality.
Financing available. Go to WalshWireless.com. A proud IBEW contractor. WalshWireless.com. Stop wasting energy. There's a better way. Your company could be receiving energy efficiency incentives by recycling waste heat from on-site power generation equipment and turning it into useful energy. The federal government is pushing utility companies to be more efficient. In turn, utility companies are offering incentives for your business. Charles Equipment can help get you up and running with cogeneration, also known as CHP, combined heat and power, a clean and efficient way to generate heat and power. CHP systems can supply at least a portion of a building's electrical load and capture waste heat from hot exhaust gases for use in heating, cooling, hot water, and dehumidification. Charles Equipment can install and manage the cogen equipment at your facility and help your energy use become 70 to 90% more efficient. Start making better, more energy efficient decisions and save money in the process. Call Charles Equipment 630-834-6000 or online at charlesequipment.com. Reliable industrial generators. They've got the power.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah.
Taking it down a notch here on Dan and Amy show.
You know who that is?
Kenny G.
Do you know what the tune is from?
Love Boat?
No.
Fantasy Island?
Theme song from Dying Young with Campbell Scott and Julia Roberts.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you need a tissue?
Well,
I have
the socialists are on to Kenny G and the masses support of him.
Why?
In Jacobin magazine.
Be sure to put that copy back on
I
my
will.
desk.
Yeah. But it's, you have some stones.
Making the rounds here at the station. Come
You
on.
have to have some stones to name your outlet Jacobin. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well name it Thug Magazine, but okay. Kenny G. He is the linchpin to the proletariat revolution, according to this art critic at Jacobin Magazine. You didn't think there was a political function of Kenny G.
I had no idea.
That's where you're wrong. Music has for centuries functioned to reinforce social hierarchies and defend the boundaries of elite class identity, as you know, Amy. Those exhibiting musical talent in the approved high genres have been able to transcend their economic status, gaining access to elite circles as those who have shown a full assimilation and deep understanding of the aesthetic and social norms associated with the high arts. Conversely, demonstrating an excessively non-ironic affinity for low musical genres and cultural products, however these are defined, as a recipe for exclusion from them, meaning those circles. It is in this sense that a preference for Kenny G invites social ostracism by elites and by the professional managerial classes that serve them. And that's where the elites and the professional managerial classes have it wrong. You know, it's easy to heap scorn on the Kenny G fans, but if you want to stoke the revolt and usher in utopia, the author says, it's clear we have little to gain by investing ourselves with the attitudes and ideology of elites. The 1% no longer worships or even respects the high arts and high culture. With the 1%'s abandonment of the traditional patronage role, it should be obvious to us more than ever that our prospects are intrinsically connected to the 99%. So, rather than
You're really worked up about this.
No, this is a great defense of Kenny G. Rather than criticizing the proletariat's base desires for more Kenny G, indulge them. Now, the author says, you don't have to take any great pleasure in listening to Kenny G. All that is necessary when interacting with those who do is to remember the old kindergarten adage that one should either say something nice or nothing at all. If we're to take seriously our goal of developing a social base for a mass left politics, that's a sacrifice we should all be willing to make, joining the millions of others already floating their cares away to the cool, smooth tones of Kenny G. Might not be everyone's idea of a socialist utopia, but it's pretty easy to imagine a lot worse. So if you weren't already compelled by the prospect of a socialist utopia where the socialist Spice Girls and the other deep thinkers and uber compassionate are in charge of your lives for you, Now think about that prospect, but with a bet of Kenny G, and an eternal loop of Kenny G's soulful melodic stylings. Now are you on board for socialism? I thought so.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your week. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, who is?
He's working with Jacobin Magazine on a panegyric to Yanni. So you'll look forward to that in the next issue.
Have a great, safe, and happy weekend. Now, here is Mike Scott.
Master of the pan flute. Clouds out there this morning. We'll see clouds throughout the day and snow developing later on tonight. Your full forecast in a moment. Fox News has the latest on an attack in Paris this morning, a stabbing in a Paris suburb. A man dead after a violent confrontation with Chicago police. Shots were fired at a vehicle carrying children on the Dan Ryan. And in Big Ten hoops, Michigan State tops Illinois. WIND, Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
He should have been taken out many years ago. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump tweeted that after the U.S. airstrike